I want to bring. Let's chat about this while Chronic comes on. I want to
Okay. It's going to be hard to actually have a conversation with him here, but
yeah, I know. That's why I wanted to like.
What's the problem? I'm sorry, Radical Coder, that I didn't get back to you in time.
It's all
That's
good.
why you're upset.
No. I mean, you might be fine. It's just the last time I was on a panel with you, you kind of held frame.
Oh
the
no,
whole time,
we had like what?
He's saying you have a lot of social gravity, Undead. It's a compliment. He's just
like
saying.
No, I was just drunk that panel. No.
Okay, fair enough.
No, it was a shit show. There was no social gravity going on.
Well,
in that,
I'm gonna say
stream.
you came in hot and are already proving Ryan's concerns. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, the thing I wanted to talk about was a panel you were on recently where we were talking about Jordan Peterson, and I agree with you that he's like way better than Andrew Tate in a lot of ways. I think the problems with them are very different. But there were claims you made that he was like on the left or like a progressive essentially, and I kind of wanted to push back on that. I mean, I have like a few specific points that I'd bring up that were like way before he was characterized as like a Nazi and all these things, specifically the C16 stuff. Of course, that's kind of an easy one, that like the stuff that like brought him to prominence, and his like misrepresentation of the C16 bill. The second one would be like a conversation he had with like Stefan Molyneux, where he's talking about like race and IQ, and the way that he was discussing these topics was a little sussy, I guess, to put it mildly. And I would another kind of funny one. I like a lot of his takes on like archetypes in media and his like Disney movie takes specifically. But like when he talked about Frozen, he like writes off the entire movie. Oh, it's pure ideology, and he doesn't like really engage with it, and kind of was, yeah, he had a very boring take on Frozen. So I thought that was kind of weird. And one more thing, when you were talking about the quote of his about like makeup in the workplace and stuff, he does specifically say like, here's a rule. What about no makeup in the workplace? So if you want to, I know that's a lot, but if there's anything there that stands out that you want to like talk about.
Sure, we can talk about the rule first, because I'm not as familiar with the Frozen stuff, and I don't know, because I tend to disavow a lot of like pre-2020, like post-2020 Jordan Peterson. I tend not to like. I'm very hit or miss. There's a couple of nuggets, but most of it I'm not a big fan of. So I'm not sure when the Frozen stuff specifically.
Well, the nuggets are small and they're benzo pills, right?
No, I wouldn't say that.
Well, you were addicted to benzos. That's what I'm trying to bring up.
Yeah, what I would say to the like, here's a rule. What about no makeup in the workplace? That he poses it in such a like open way. Like, here's a rule. Why not no makeup in the workplace? And then people are like, well, why not? Why would we bar that? And he's like, well, why wouldn't we bar it? Right? So even the way that it's characterized, I still don't think he's literally saying makeup should be banned from the workplace. I would say maybe now he would agree with that, but at the time he was saying it, I don't think he was ever saying makeup should be banned from the workplace. He was saying, why wouldn't we? What are our reasons for allowing makeup versus not allowing makeup? Why do we say like certain things about like dress codes for women where we're not allowed to have like bra, like a strap showing? Why do we have all these other rules about women and their dress, but not makeup? When the bra strap is theoretically, the risk is the sexualness, when a lot of makeup obviously also highlights sexuality as well. And I don't think he was ever saying, I think he later goes on to caveat and say, he's not actually saying that women shouldn't be allowed to wear makeup in the workplace. But he's saying, why aren't we analyzing these things? Why aren't we even asking the question?
Okay, I think it's a fair steel man of his position there. I don't know for sure that that's like what he was getting at, but if it was, then I think that's fair. But would you still like characterize him in that time period as like a progressive per se? Like I'd say he seems like fairly right leaning in a lot of his ideology.
Nowadays,
I mean back then, specifically because I understand there's two Petersons for sure, like post brain injury and before.
Before I wouldn't necessarily classify him as like right leaning. He was more of like, I don't know, in his own little world. But yeah, nowadays yes, but back then I don't know.
So in the case of like the rule, the rule he suggests is a feminist prescription talking point. It's an older one. People don't talk about it much, but it comes from feminist literature. There was actually feminists who talked about making a rule that makeup wasn't allowed because they viewed makeup as an oppressive tool of the patriarchy. So they had different goals in it, but the goal was fundamentally to reduce workplace harassment, because he agrees sexual harassment of women in the workplace is bad. It's a horrible thing. By liberal, I wouldn't say. So he was liberal in that he tended to almost always vote liberal. I think he said his voting record was dominantly liberal. And in Canada's already a very liberal country. So if he's voting liberal, he tends to lean liberal. He ended up in a very liberal arts school. He was a social psychologist. he's old as fuck now. And so when he calls himself a liberal, this is the issue with like older people that call themselves liberal that we struggle with, which is the Overton window, where like the Overton window moves so far that it's like he's definitely not liberal now. And I would say he was like bordering on conservative even when he was young. But when he was like a young man, for example, when he talks about what he's like as a young man, he was aggressively progressive, right? He was talking about like allowing gay marriage long before it was legalized in Canada. And so like the idea that he was just like never liberal progressive, I don't think is really true. He's probably gone through some of the transition just in old age that most people tend to do, which is becoming slightly more conservative. And then post 2020, he's kind of taken a really radical shift. But that would be my reason why, is that he had a lot of common liberal progressive talking points.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I kind of wanted to just pick your brain on it. I thought it was an interesting take, and
all right, let's redirect this. So I think there's going to be so many disagreements between Chronic and Kyle. Maybe not, but we'll see. I think let's start off with like what's Chronic's probably like craziest take? All right, Chronic, you do believe women shouldn't be allowed to vote? That's still your position, or?
Well, I don't really think most people should be allowed to vote, but I guess I evolved from the women shouldn't vote. But now I look around at most of the men, I'm like, well, I just don't like democracy in general.
Are you like, do you want like a test, like a what's that? There's a sci-fi book where only citizens who have like worked for the military can
Starship
vote.
Troopers, right?
Yes. Is that what you're thinking of?
I mean, that's like it's probably the least crazy way to say it's like net taxpayers can vote, right? It's not like only the military. Right? Because look at the military today. We don't need boots on the ground. We have drones. So like, I don't know. I'd say net taxpayers. That's probably the fairest way if you're going to keep a democracy. But I don't find like arguments about the perfect political system really fruitful, because I recognize I don't have any power, and we're living in a corrupt, dying civilization. I'm not going to stand up and fight for something. For what? Like, I'm going to fight for a new system to save the people that hate me? No, they can rot. I don't care about them.
Huh. Yeah, I mean, if you're saying like it's a pipe dream you don't care advocating for.
Well, like any kind of advocate.
I don't argue, yeah, but I don't argue with people who like, it's just a pipe dream. I don't really care. I don't want to advocate. I'm like, okay.
Well, it's like, do you want corruption to be in government? No. Are you going to get corruption out of government? No. It's a pipe dream.
Right. I think are you an anarchist?
Oh, hell no. Anarchy is just basically like a free-for-all until a strong man comes.
That's true. It's just like, we all know anyone who's on this fucking panel is dying if anarchy happens, okay?
Well, I mean, I don't know about y'all's positions, but I don't think I'd be necessarily dying in the first couple years.
Are you libertarian then?
Libertarian Party is, I think I saw a video from 2014. It was like the Libertarian Party had a national convention in Florida, and during their convention, this fat guy got on stage to run for chair. And I say fat guy because he proceeded to strip down to a mankini and dance and say, "Sorry, I lost a bet." So ever since I saw that video, the Libertarian Party is a joke. Yeah, look it up. Look up Libertarian Party meeting or convention dance. It's hilarious. It's actually hilarious. This guy's just like dancing and grooving. And it was just like, okay, it's cool. And they start taking his clothes off, and the audience was like, "What the hell is going on?"
Down to a speedo?
Something like that.
I guess if we want to have a conversation, it's going to be hard if like there isn't like a specific answer or viewpoint you have. So like,
oh well, single mothers are cancer. There you go. I can prove that.
All right, there we go.
I'll stand on that one. No, I'll stand on that one all day.
Sure. We also got no hymen, no diamond. That's another popular Undead Chronic.
So much cringe
catchphrase.
Who said so much cringe? Ryan?
I did.
I'm sorry you missed it. I'm sorry I missed you, bro.
It's okay, buddy.
It's worth a good 2-hour conversation. But if Ryan, would you marry a porn star?
Would I marry a porn star? I don't know.
Yes.
Maybe.
So it's a potential.
Sure.
Yeah. So like any kind of man that, and this is not an argument, but any kind of man, at least that I associate with, that respect their testicles, are laughing their ass off at you right now.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'd be laughing. I'd be laughing at them as well. I don't know. I think it's,
like you got away with the girl that fucked 10,000 dudes, and you got the queen. I mean, if you value,
maybe I'm the last one, or maybe we have an open marriage. Maybe she continues to do porn. Who knows?
Yeah.
All right, let me flip this question on Chronic. Chronic, who's the porn star you find most attractive out of all? For me, it's Lana Rhodes. Who's it for you?
Probably one of my ex-girlfriends. I don't know.
Okay, let's just take whatever. Just imagine the hottest porn star, whoever is your favorite.
Sure.
Porn, right? So, okay, how far? But how far? You wouldn't marry her, but would you? You would hook up with her, I assume, right? With a hot porn star.
I'm gonna need a hazmat suit with a hole cut for a condom, but maybe if I was drunk enough, sure.
Okay, what about?
Well, they're
dating
very
her?
tested.
Yeah, they're very tested, though.
Mhm.
Yeah. There's another. So, what about
Yeah, like
dating
they
her?
don't have.
Actually
They
dating
get
her.
tested like every week.
So a porn star is gonna take a test right before I bang her, and I'm gonna trust her and trust the test. No, it's like you're not gonna test a chick.
She probably
before you
carries her
smash.
papers on her.
How frequent are those tests?
They have to do it.
She
every
needs it
2
for her
weeks.
work. Yeah, they do
Okay,
it
but
like
Like,
what if that test was 2 months ago, right?
No, they have to do it every 2 weeks. By
It's
the way. Anyway.
dated.
And she's hooking up with dudes at a bar, which is where I'd see her. How do I know what's going on there? That's like a safety assessment. So I'm gonna
Can't you
need the
just ask for a
hazmat suit.
test the night before?
I'm gonna need a hazmat suit with a hole cut out for the ding-a-ling and a military grade ballistic proof
a condom will be.
I'm not gonna feel a damn thing, but sure, I'd smash.
Okay. Would you casually date
So
her?
what's the
Though?
point?
Would I like smash her on the reg? Sure.
Okay, but you just wouldn't marry her.
I wouldn't spend money on her probably. I'm not taking her out to eat. I don't want to be seen with a porn star. My dad would kill me. I would kill myself. Yeah, hey, look at your boy going to a 5-star restaurant with a porn star. Oh, that's just embarrassing.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't think you and Ryan are that far apart. Ryan said he's not sure if he would marry her, and you're saying that you would casually date her, but you wouldn't go further. You guys are not.
Oh,
that.
I don't know
Look
if
at that.
I don't know if smashing and just
Synthesis.
saying peace until the next bone session's casually dating. That's just hooking up.
Yeah, casually dating and hooking up. I use those two interchangeably.
Oh, okay.
Would you eat dinner with her?
Is she paying? I
Yeah,
don't
she's
know.
paying.
Yeah, she's got. Yeah, maybe she's like a super successful porn star.
Yeah, she's a good
Man.
cook, right? She's a good cook. She wants
Yeah,
to cook
without-
you whatever the fuck you like to eat, like green goblins for dinner or something with
Green goblins. Just a weed infused dinner everywhere.
Yeah, she's super bad weed. She makes you wheat brownies.
Honestly, no. Like I'd smash, but I'm not trying to invest any time. My time is worth more than consorting with a hooker.
What's your time? What do you do with your time?
But what if she has a heart of gold and she's beautiful and she hits every check on the box except for her profession?
Oh, what a shame that such a wonderful woman was destroyed by her own choices. It's like, what if there's a crackhead and he's ripped, and this crackhead's, he's ripped, but he's nice. He does everything right, but he has to hit that crystal every other day. Could you overlook him being a crackhead?
What if she's willing to stop sex work for you?
She's still not a virgin. How many body count does she have? I'm not interested.
What's yours?
Jesus Christ.
NotsoErudite, you say, what's my body count?
Hmm.
Let me see here. I guesstimate. I think last time I talked to Alex was like I said between 80 and 160. I like to have a wide range of guesstimation there.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So you would assign a morality to her based on how many partners she has?
Absolutely,
Why?
because I'm looking for a long-term investment. If I'm going to spend money on a woman and I'm going to try to hope for a family with her,
Or are
I'm
you
not gonna
just
choose
threatened by a woman that might have more experience than you?
I'm not threatened by something that's low value. I'm not threatened by like the dishes at the dollar store. Why would I be threatened? Like, oh, those dishes are cheap, but they're really powerful. No, I don't care. She's a product. She let herself be a product. Dudes consume her through computer screens. I don't have an interest in building
Dudes
a family
consume
with
you
that.
through computer screens.
What if she
Yeah, well,
doesn't even engage
I'm not
in
getting fucked
sexual
on camera,
partners?
bro.
It's
It's a little bit.
solo.
You can't say those
Moving
the same. I'm not
What do you
opening
do
my
for
green
work?
cheeks on camera. There's a little bit of difference there.
What do you do for work?
I'm a scientist.
Can I ask what field broadly? I know you're wanting like
Genetics.
anonymity.
You get genetics.
Genetics. So okay. So you're basically saying, like sex. So your issue is basically high body count. She's lost all of her value, and you're not going to waste your money specifically on her. But if she's a sex worker, you wouldn't need to. She would probably be bringing in, especially assuming she's kind, sweet, and hot. She's probably bringing in a lot of money. So you wouldn't have to waste that much money on her specifically. So the issue is just that basically you're assuming if she's had a high body count, she's probably a piece of trash.
Well, investment also means time. My time is worth more than what a hooker can bring in over the span of 10 years.
So you're saying that you wouldn't sleep with a hot woman who's good at sex and has no chances of giving you STDs because you're worried about your daddy thinks about you?
No, you are. Well, wow, what an interesting way to frame that argument. Not so
That's what
erudite.
you
I thought
said.
you got a master's in something impressive.
Daddy
I
issues.
don't have a master's.
That seemed pretty fair,
Yeah,
honestly.
no, and you know, when I talk to my master's students and I have to lecture them, they make a lot of similar mistakes. But let me explain it in explicit detail.
This is a
I am
super good
not-
example, by the way.
I am
everyone
not
of consent.
I
Just
am
so
not.
everyone's clear of the difference.
Well, I mean,
I'm
like
going to be
you
mean
just said I had
to
daddy
Undead.
issues. Hey, not
I
so
didn't.
like,
Hold on.
hey,
I
hey,
didn't
hey,
say you had
Miss
daddy issues.
You brought up your
I
dad.
outlined what
Miss
you said.
Psychotherapist,
I
you
would-
just said
stop,
my
stop.
argument. You
Listen.
just said my argument
Okay.
was me having
Okay.
daddy issues. And then when I
Ladies
flipped it back
first.
to you, your female
All right,
emotions got out of control.
Let's go one at a time. All right,
So
let's.
I'll
Okay.
back it up. I didn't say you had daddy issues. I literally said what you said. You said I would never want to bring this porn star out. What would my daddy think of me? Which means
That was
you're
one of
fucking
multiple
for the
reasons.
affirmation.
Oh, well, that's
of
one of like
men.
4 or 5 reasons, but you just chose the one that made it easy to make it sound smart.
Definitely.
Well, let me
sound
explain
smart.
it.
I
Let
don't
me
think anyone
explain.
thought I sounded smart when I said that you were fucking.
Let me
you're
explain
worried about
in
who you're fucking
explicit
for your dad.
detail, Miss
Shit.
Master Student. Let a PhD explain to you in explicit
Again.
detail.
Whoa.
Yes, I am
Such a
I'm
trouble.
condescending to someone who studied a soft science.
Yeah,
You know,
that's
like
fine.
psychology, sociology. I respect it, but it's
Yeah.
not a hard science,
Keep
right?
going for the low hangings. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, the investment of my time in building a family. When you look at the divorce rates with non-virgins and you compare it to virgins, if you want a family that lasts, if you're looking at the numbers, you would choose a virgin.
Actually, you would choose a virgin on both sides. Low body count on both sides predicts marital success.
Yep.
So
it's
you're a
because
terrible
yeah,
candidate.
no, I
actually.
agree with
Your
that. I
best
agree with that.
candidate is a woman with a high body count. You've already told me you're an awful candidate to marry.
Well, if you were a virgin, which you're not, and if you were single, which you're not, and you
Well,
were
I was a
religious, and
virgin
you
when I
told,
got married.
and
I
if you
only
told,
slept
and
with
if you
one
told me,
person, which is
if
my
you told
husband,
me, not
just
so
so you know.
erudite, I don't want to date you because you are not a virgin. You know what I would say? You're welcome to have that standard. Good luck out there.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. But for me, I'm looking out for numero uno, Mr. Greenskin. I'm going to get the virgin. So you'd be like, it's not fair for the virgin female if she wants a stable marriage. I don't care what, because 80% of divorces are initiated by women. 80% of divorces are initiated by women, right? So
Sure.
the female virginity is what's that? A factor of 4 times more important than the male's virginity. Because females are initiating divorce at 4 times the rate. I'm the one that's going to get divorced. I'm not going to initiate the divorce. So I'm going to choose a girl who's not going to initiate divorce.
All right, wait, Chronic, let me throw a little hypothetical your way. What if the girl makes significantly more money than you? Like, what if she's a multimillionaire? In which case, divorce is something that can only benefit you, can't really hurt you. Would that change your calculation if she's like a multi-billionaire?
Is she like, is her family just super rich?
Yeah, let's just assume that.
So your family's super rich.
Like, she's a multimillionaire, so if you guys get divorced, it can only help you.
Multimillionaire isn't like, at least in today's economy, it's not that impressive.
Okay, she's a billionaire.
Her family has a lot of money. She's not a virgin. I don't know. It's just like, how many kids is she going to give me? Am I going to get thrown into a vat of acid in Dubai if I say the wrong thing to her father?
Well, I mean, you don't know how many kids she's going to give you either way. Like, how do you know that? You can't predict that.
Well, you can always ask her. You get a gauge of how willing she is to have a lot of children.
Will you bear me?
No, you think that's a bad question? I mean, wait, not so erudite. Not so erudite. You think that's a bad question to ask for potential marriage partners?
I cannot.
Don't you do you do coaching? Don't you? You do relationship coaching.
No, I mean, I think
it's important to talk to your potential partner of how many kids they want. Like, if you don't think so, that makes you look stupid.
I think it came out funny, but I do think Chronic is right. Yeah, I think I think the reason she's laughing is because it just came out funny. But I agree with you that if you are like dating and stuff, it is a good question to talk about before you get married. Make sure you're on the same page.
I'm laughing because it's silly. Just directly answer Alex. Don't be like a feminine male who pussies out at every direct question. Just
that's a good argument from the esteemed not so erudite. Call me
already getting heated. I knew this was going to get heated. All right, well, so let's
go. That's all right.
Your best insult is using my name. Your best insult to me is the name I supply you. You're not playing.
I haven't even started insulting you. I'm trying to stay calm on this panel. If you want me to insult you, I'll write a video insulting you, and then you could strike it down and lose my channel. No big deal. Gentleman's handshake on that.
Oh, jeez.
I don't.
That is true. Chronic is being fairly cordial from what I've seen as of now. Okay, so going back to that. So, but when you gotta admit that throws a wrench in the calculation, because like the biggest reason guys are worried about like getting divorced is because they're going to lose half of their assets. Like that's like the biggest factor. But the girl has like significantly more money than you, then you can only like gain assets from her. You can't lose assets, right? So assuming that she's like on the same on board with you to have as many kids as you want to, whatever that number is, like when then at that point you consider a girl who's like a 5 or 10 body count, if there's like nothing you can lose with a divorce, you can only gain.
I think for me, I would, if I could get any answer, it would be no divorce, period. I'd marry a poor waitress with 0% chance of divorce over the 10%, 20% chance of divorce the billionaire chick would give me. If
you don't know
if that was what. Yeah, you don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know the answer. I'd have to really think on that, right? I mean, I would just assume she has a higher chance of divorcing me because she's richer than me. That's another factor that increases divorce. The woman makes more money. She's a non-virgin. No, I'll get the small town waitress.
Were you saying
instead.
that a woman initiates divorce more if they've had more sex partners before getting married? Was that your point?
Well, they just.
Well, he's tying. Here's what he's doing.
Yeah,
He's
I'm
doing
kind of
correlation equals causation.
Yeah,
He's
I'm jumping.
Which is funny because he was using a soft science date. He's just using a bunch of soft sciences to just promote his ideas.
Statistics,
Well,
soft science to the soft.
I'm sorry.
Not so soft science to the woman,
Soft
but to
science
me,
is
I kind of like
okay.
numbers.
Just
It's
a
not
question.
how do you feel about this
Since
test I
you're so
gave
alpha,
you.
can you bear with me just
Yeah.
like a full
Not
sentence in?
really. It's hard to
Okay.
bear, but I'll try.
Okay, you're right.
And
You
then,
need
but then
more
in the
time
same
to
breath, you're
write up
saying that
because
you
he
want
can do a lot.
a woman with like, no
Jenny,
sexual partner.
Jenny,
She's like a
let
virgin.
Jenny,
I would
let not
imagine.
Jenny, let's let not so erudite
What?
answer for me. She was saying something when you
Oh,
talked about
sorry.
this study.
I'm having a hard time
No, it's okay.
hearing.
Not so
I
erudite.
didn't
Go
know
on.
she was talking. I'm sorry. I apologize.
So women initiate divorces at about an 80% rate. So they initiate most of the divorces. And what he was citing is a different study that shows a correlation of low body count to relational longevity. The issue is that these two things are not causative at all. So his claim, for example, that her virginity is 4 times more important is factually just false, which is ironic because he's using a bunch of soft sciences to then make an actual fallacious statement, which is just hilarious.
Wait, Kyle,
Very alpha and Giga Chad, by the
do
way.
you disagree with the underlying premise that, like,
Yeah.
for example, as a guy, if your choice is between marrying a virgin and marrying a girl with like 30 body count, that there's equal risk of you being divorced with those chicks? Like, would you say there's no difference in risk?
So statistically, there is an increased risk, but the idea that her virginity is 4 times more important is not at all clear.
No, but let's ignore that statement. Let's just go back to, like, okay, you're a guy, right? You have 2 choices. All the other factors being, one is a virgin, one has 20 body count. All you care about is like not being divorced. Like, you would agree that your chance of getting divorced are much higher with a 20 body count chick, right?
I wouldn't say it's much higher. It is statistically significant, but it is not what we would call like clinically. It's not huge by any means. And further on, like data on this has mostly found this to not be really true. That body count is not the best predictor of longevity. There are significant other factors that are way more predictive, like
Can you,
way more predictive.
Can you like maybe put the title of that study in the StreamYard chat for me? I won't debate it now. I just want to look it up.
Which study
I
specifically?
mean, you just said there was like a lot more evidence for other factors, whatever ones you could think of.
Factors that predict divorce? Sure.
Yeah.
Sure, I can Google you which studies.
Oh, I don't want to Google. If you don't know off the top of your head, I'll just look it up myself. It's not a big deal.
Sure, go for it. And I'm sure you're going to find virginity at marriage is not a number 1 predictor.
I don't know. I didn't look up.
Well, you're sure you already came up with your conclusion, and you didn't even know the name of the study, so you're so sure of what you're saying.
Yeah, I am. Go ahead and look it up.
Yeah, no. Go ahead and look it up. Google it. That's my argument. Okay,
Yeah,
This is why I like hard sciences.
Confident that virginity. I don't know why you're laughing. I'm so confident.
Because it's funny.
that
I'm
virginity
talking to
doesn't
someone that
top
thinks
out
they're a
on one-
scientist,
This
and
is the issue.
this
You're
is their
just doing
argument.
ecological fallacies, just constantly, right?
Oh,
Human
man.
individuals cannot be treated well with statistical information. This is why normative claims are helpful when we're looking at like societal-wide issues, but they're not so helpful when you're trying to decide individual partners, because statistical norms don't apply super well to individuals. This is actually why, for example, things like social, like personality psych, for example, map on really well to normative statements about groups, but are terrible at predicting individuals, because normative statements don't apply to individuals, and Undead Chronic, Mr. Scientist, will be the first one to tell you this.
So if you have 100 guys and I have 100 guys, and you tell them to marry non-virgins, and I tell mine to marry virgins, which of our groups are going to have less divorces in 30 years?
It's a normative claim.
No, that's a theoretical. Which do you think? Are you more?
I think we wouldn't have enough information to say.
And it is normative. Well, theoretically, based on the data that we have, probably the virgins, unless the replications haven't followed. The issue is that what you're doing is a formal fallacy where you are taking a normative claim and then you're applying that to an individual.
Well, I'm looking at one variable, right? No, there's other variables that can influence whether someone gets divorced or not. I've never said there wasn't. There wasn't.
Do you know what an ecological fallacy is?
How about you explain for my chat?
Sure. It refers to a methodological error in which characteristics of a population as a whole are attributed to groups within that population without any real connection between them being demonstrated. So while it is true to some extent that virginity does protect longevity, that doesn't mean at an individual level, virgins are more likely to have a longer relationship than non-virgins. It's not actually true. This is a fallacy. You learned this in stats. I know you know this.
So what you're saying is, if I have a statistic about red M&Ms being poisonous, and you're saying, well, some of these candies aren't M&Ms, they're Skittles. That's a fallacy. Don't feel bad if you eat a red candy. I'm not trying to make a giant statement on this is exactly what you need to do, 100% guarantee. I am talking to my audience, and what I'm saying is, if you want to reduce the chances of getting divorced, one of the important factors you can look at is whether or not she's a hoe bag, whether or not she has a body count.
So good partners make good partners. Virgins don't necessarily make good partners. That's the issue. You're still doing the ecological fallacy.
I think this is
M&Ms
probably,
are not people.
Yeah, this is the difference.
And non-virgins aren't poison.
This is the difference between hard and soft sciences, right?
Hard and soft science. You're making
no. Let me,
bad.
calm down. Calm down. It's okay.
Explain this to you again.
Calm down. Let me explain.
Go ahead. I'll go get water while you explain. I can still.
Yeah, go. Please
I
go.
can hear you. So go ahead.
Okay,
I can,
cool.
I'm just letting you.
Oh no, I got it. I'm real threatened.
I'm just letting you know.
So
I'm just literally letting you know that I can hear you. So as you explain, I'm not.
No, it's cool. Go get your water. Hydrate. It's cold outside. Go get some water. Yeah. So the further up you go in the complexity of a scientific field, the more explanations you can give for everything, right? So hard sciences for me, I guess number one's math, right? You can kind of, if I have a bad math proof, you guys be like, that's bullshit. That doesn't equal that. From there, it goes to physics. Physics is really math intensive. From there, it's chemistry. Then it's biology. From biology, you kind of jump to psych and soc. Very interesting, right? Very complex, extremely complex. So they have to, and Erudite knows this, you have to account for a million different variables. And you can sit down and argue at a table being like, well, you didn't account for this, this, and this, and this. And well, what if your subjects took this bus line to the study today and my subjects drove? All that comes into it. I am not interested. I am simply not interested in arguing about what makes a good partner as a person. It's too complex of a problem looking at just a human being, right? I am more interested in talking about biology, hair bonding, that kind of stuff. That's my expertise. So if someone comes and says, whoa, Chronic, I have this girl. She loves me. She has a body count of 2. I really trust her. We have the same goals, but you say no hymen, no diamond. What do I do? I'm like, it's your life, bro. If you think it's going to work out, marry her, whatever.
No,
Good
you
luck.
gotta dump her.
Well, that's not what I said.
I know,
sure.
I'm just memeing, dude.
Oh no, he's just memeing. Oh yeah, no hymen, no diamond. You gotta take her to the gynecologist on your first date, bro. You gotta confirm it.
Let me pose a question to Chronic. Okay, let me just pull this up just so we have. So this is the study, right? That you reference, I've referenced, blah blah. So here's what's really interesting thing about the study, right? You notice like the risk of divorce goes up until 2 partners, but then after 2 partners it goes down and only catches up at 9 partners. So my question to you would be, if you have a choice between marrying a woman with two partners or
right.
8 partners, who would you pick?
Oh man, yeah, no. I every time I look at that chart, I'm just like, what the mother living crap is going on in that little curve there? 2 or you said 4? So what's
or 8, right? 8 is still it's 4 times as many body count, but it's still lower divorce risk.
Yeah, so 5% less chance of divorce for a 8 body count. I'll probably bite the 5% and go for the 2, to be honest. But it's not just divorce. It's not just divorce outcomes that are influencing my want for a virgin.
Oh, what else is there?
So what are the other factors? Yeah, that's where I was going to get with that.
Yeah, so I'd say, it's the divorce. There's a religious input to it. There is a kind of I'm sure erudite would have a better term for it, but more like pride or like kind of it's not religious, but it's selfish. I don't know what to say.
Like ego, maybe?
Yeah, no, that's perfect. Ego.
Okay.
So could you explain something? I don't understand how this is happening in real time. If you're such a rigorous, hard scientist, how are you failing Stats 101 so hard, where you were unironically constantly arguing for an ecological fallacy, which isn't even an informal fallacy. It is a formal fallacy. It is a crux. It is math. It is mathematically unsound to argue. We know in stats that you cannot take normative claims and apply them well to individuals. This is why when you're talking about partner selection, you don't typically use statistics. You have to fundamentally use an element of personal judgment, because statistical norms don't apply. In the case of your bag of M&Ms, M&Ms have immutable characteristics of some of them being poisonous. Sluts don't have an immutable characteristic of fucking divorce. That's what you're doing right now.
Just a higher chance of divorce.
Okay. A higher chance of divorce doesn't mean that sluts have an immutable characteristic of being more likely to divorce. Do you understand that?
When you're looking at the entire population, they have more divorces than an entire population of virgins. The problem here is your field of study takes in a million different variables. I'm not saying those variables don't matter. Don't get butthurt about it. I'm not saying it doesn't matter. I'm not saying it was useless. I'm just saying I'm looking at one single variable. You go, but I know tons of sluts that stayed married. I know it's about whether they do this, and this.
That's not what I'm saying.
I don't care. I don't care if they're submissive. I don't care if they get angry. I don't care if they have 2 left feet.
The issue is you're saying 2 + 2 = 3, and I'm telling you, you're doing an ecological fallacy. This is a formal fallacy. You're just wrong. You cannot take group normative claims and apply them to individuals. You can't do it. I'm not just like being mad because I'm like, what if sluts are nice? I'm not saying what if sluts are nice. What I'm saying is sluts leading to divorce is not immutable. You can't actually track that from a normative claim. Somebody being more slutty and having a 20 body count, if she has all of those other factors, might end up being an excellent partner. So if, for example, you just do things like selecting your partner on virginity, you're actually setting up men to select for worse partners potentially because they're not selecting on things that matter.
Yeah, I'm not just saying just select for virginity though. But let me pose this to you. Okay. So African-American child goes to the hospital. My finger hurts. It hurts so fucking bad. A 5-year-old kid, his finger looks all kinds of jacked up. Well, just because African Americans are more likely to have sickle cell, it's not fair to assume this small African American child could have sickle cell. Let's put that in the bottom of the differential. I am thankful to God women like you don't run the medical system.
Sickle cell is an immutable trait. Divorce is not.
Wait, I'm actually also not seeing the issue with Chronic's reasoning. I mean, it seems like, okay, maybe I'm not a science major, so maybe I'm missing something, but it seems that if you have a massive study, which I think pretty much everyone agrees that study was done pretty well, that shows that, okay, you take massive amounts of people, women with this much body count, divorce at this percentage. Obviously, that's not a guarantee. It doesn't mean that if you pick a virgin that she's 10%, but that just means the average. If you replicate the situation so many times, that the chances are, if you're a betting man, you have better odds of that girl not divorcing you. I mean, that seems like a reasonable conclusion. What's off about that?
So the issue is that when you assume normative claims, of a population to individuals within that population, it leads to false or inaccurate conclusions all the time. Because the issue is basically this: when you look at like the stats of like the 100 men that Chronic Undead suggested, right? So you got this nice bell curve of the longevity of the relationship, and then you're going to plot the longevity against, for example, their virginity. And you are going to see that broadly overall, virginity is mapping on higher. However, the reason why it's mapping on higher isn't clear. Maybe it's virginity, but maybe it's a million other things. And this is the problem with soft sciences that I would agree with Chronic Undead, is that it's really hard to tease apart what these factors actually matter at an individual level, which is why at an individual level, if you take the correlation and say, okay, virgins make better partners, that's not what this is showing, because the problem is that you have this whole bell curve, and you might select a woman, maybe you select a woman with a really high body count who was really high on the chart, and you just lucked out, and now you've walked away from that woman because you've assumed that she's not a virgin, so she can't be a good partner. When she's a perfectly viable partner, your heuristic was bad. You're applying something that didn't apply.
Sure, so you're saying it's some kind of external variable that's not recorded that happens to be associated with virginity.
Typically, that usually is what it is.
Well, yeah, no, I mean, yeah, if it's not virginity, it's something that just in a weird way, right? People, the most often one I hear is, oh, they're religious, right? That's kind of the most common things. Like, well, virgin girls are more religious, and if they're more religious, they're less likely to divorce. Cool. Go for the population of virgins. We don't know what the factor is, but there's something in that population that makes you less likely to get divorced.
So I kind of want to push on that note, like this, like if we're specifically selecting for factors that make people less likely to get divorced, right? What do you think some factors are there? Because you have I assume a mostly like male audience. So like, what are some factors that you think you could like present to your mostly male audience that might make them more or less likely, like in terms of like things they can do personally?
Well, this has been like studied. I mean,
I'm agreeing with the data there. Sure, on the virgin thing, that's fine. That might be it. That might be.
I'm saying like in terms of other factors, like religion is one of them. What degree of higher education does the woman have? So if she has higher education, typically she's more likely to divorce.
Well, I'm not. Sorry, Alex. I'm not asking what things that the guy can select for in women. I'm asking like what things he thinks he could tell his audience to do personally that might make them better partners and less likely to. Because if you're worried, your big concern seems to be women divorcing these men. So like, what are some things that you specifically think these men could do for themselves to make them better partners and less likely to have these women leave them? And if you don't talk about these things, I'd ask why.
Yeah, because I think it's probably a bias in that I know a lot of good men in my life, and I have a lot of guys come up to me, and I've seen other friends and people be like, I got divorced, and it's stuff like obvious stuff. Don't go Mike Tyson on your girl. You don't need to say that, right? It's kind of like, obviously you shouldn't beat your woman. Obviously you shouldn't just cheat on her. Obviously you shouldn't cheat on her. Obviously you shouldn't get drunk every day. This is definitely more erudite's field. So my suggestions here are
shouldn't it be something you think about a lot? Because again, your audience is mostly male. So like in terms of partner selection, maybe you can talk about the virgin thing. But in terms of like being a good partner, which there's probably my understanding of like the larger predictors are in terms of like people, like whether or not people feel compatible over a long period of time, and that probably has less to do with like whether or not she had sex before she met you, and probably has more to do with your relationship after you guys met. So there's probably like factors that contribute a lot more. Why you don't go into those factors more?
Yeah, I haven't seen studies on, how would you rate your communication? What's your communication style? Like, I don't know. Like, do you take out the trash once a week, twice a week? I don't see any of those.
Do you think it's worth looking into these things?
No, I don't think. Honestly, I don't think.
If you say no to that, then I'm hesitant to believe you actually care about like your audience and whether or not they're staying in marriages.
I think no-fault divorce is a sin upon the world. I don't think a woman should be allowed to break the family in half because she's not happy. Why are you not happy?
Earlier you said
moved on.
Earlier you pointed out, and I agree with you on this, like these kind of large scale changes, like you're not going to be able to impact those, right? You're not going to ban no fault divorce, right? So like if you're giving advice to young men, your concern should probably be with things that they can actually control in their lives, right?
Well, the issue is that if you try to select for people personally on the basis of statistics that are correlative and not causalational, you're actually going to limit your pool artificially based on factors that don't matter. For example, let me give you an example. Black men are more likely to do violent crime. That's a statistical finding. However, That doesn't mean that you wouldn't date Morgan Freeman because you think he's going to domestically abuse you, right? When it comes to partner selection, we go on dates and we select based on our chemistry, our pheromones, our similar values, a whole gambit of things, right? Our beliefs that the person will be a good partner to us and how well we'll get along. And if you basically limit your selection based on a number of like small correlative statistical findings, this is a poor strategy for selection. There will be a better selection to do this, to base it on chemistry and if you have similar values. That's a better selection than virginity, because in the case of if you use virginity, you're actually removing a whole bunch of exceptions that might be excellent partners for you for no reason, for literally no reason, at least based on the statistic stuff. This is why it's an ecological fallacy.
If I can find the special sauce, whatever it is, that makes a non-virgin less likely to divorce you, I'll start talking about it on my channel. I haven't been exposed to it, but I agree. It's a very artificial selection. There are not a lot of virgins around. It's kind of the same shtick when girls say they only want to date a guy that's 6'4". They are artificially, they are limiting their selection. Sure. Right. But what girls can actually get the 6'4" dude? Probably the very attractive ones, right?
Usually only women under like 5 feet. Let's be honest. It's always the tiniest women and all the short kings.
It is kind of, that is kind of weird. Like
there was a study on it actually that the only people who actually value like major differences in height are typically people who are on the extreme ends of either height. So really tall men like really small women, and really small women like really tall men, and the rest of us hate them all because it's
sexual dimorphism.
It's fucking stupid. However, I would say the same thing to these women. Say if a woman brought me a study and they're like, did you know though that height predicts longevity of relationship? I guarantee you that's a correlational finding. I guarantee you height does predict longevity of relationship. But I would tell that woman that's an ecological fallacy. There are plenty of shorter men that would make you just as happy, and if you count them all out based on some silly correlation, you're just doing yourself a disservice. And in the case of your viewers, you're doing them a disservice too.
But how
because there are tons of quality women that will have a higher body count.
Okay, but then I have a question to follow up with that. How do you prove causation? Because it seems like it would be really, really hard to prove causation with these types of things. Like, how do you do that?
You don't. In the case of soft sciences, this is why it should be called a soft science. Like chronic, you attacking and calling us soft sciences, I'll be the first to bite every bullet on the soft sciences.
I can't do it. It's too complicated. There's too many variables. I get roasted left, right, and center. My GTAs would roast me. I can't. No, I gotta stick with the cells.
You're in a safe space with me, okay? You can roast soft science.
I don't feel safe.
Let's all create a safe space for chronic.
Well, this is the issue, right? In the case of epidemiological studies, which is what these studies are, they're just cross sections of culture with mass numbers. You don't make causation. You don't know. Causation is unclear because you could say, well, just go to the source. Ask women why they're divorcing men. But we all know people manifest constantly. And the reason that they're saying they're divorcing might not actually be the reason. It might be the case that just their like immune systems weren't properly paired and it was never going to work out. And we just don't know it yet, right? Proving causation in soft sciences takes a lot of controlling variables and experimental solutions. And in the case of dating, it's really hard to make very controlled situations map onto general population. So I could do a study where I know exactly what causes her to select him. The problem is that it doesn't map well onto general society. This is why all dating stats you have to take with a pretty large grain of salt because it's always correlational.
Well, we do the same. We do the same kind of studies when it comes to mass food poisoning incidents, right? It's an epidemiology. Yes. It's usually epidemiology, but off that study, we know whose houses to go to because they ate the ice cream, and we can make decisions off of that.
Yeah, I kind of leaning towards agreeing with Chronic on this. Like, I personally wouldn't really base my decision solely on that, or nearly as much as he would. But I think that like it's reasonable. Like, okay, we know that, for example, women who have who had a 2-parent household on average are going to be like more emotionally stable and make better partners. Doesn't mean there's not women who didn't grow up with one parent that aren't great partners. But if you're like, okay, you're making the biggest decision of your life, right? Like marriage, right? And you're really concerned. Maybe you're a guy who's been burned in the past. Like, I don't think it's crazy to like look at all these factors, like her body count, like her relationship with her parents, her level of education, her her career, her this, her that, all these factors into considering, like, whether she's going to be, in deciding how big the gamble is, right, when you're marrying her. So I don't know. I don't feel like that's
Sure.
crazy.
You've just added in 16 other factors that you're now including. You're talking about education level, parental status, right? Her relationship with her, like you're baking in so many other factors. And at that point, I'd say like, that's not wholly unreasonable. The issue is if somebody actually approaches dating and they just have a checklist of a bunch of things like education level, 2 parents, blah, 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 blah. The reality is that's not very human, and that's not really how relationships work. And that's typically not how we partner select. And that's probably still not going to map onto the best long-term relationships. Most long-term relationships are most dominantly predicted by things like shared personality traits and common values. Those are some of the things that predict the most likelihoods, and similar levels of education. So like the education one might be okay. The issue is that what Chronic's kind of doing here is he's saying when women say, well, I won't date a black man because black men have a higher incidence of violent crime. You're saying, well, that's a reasonable conclusion. No, it's not, because it's pretty reasonable to assume that if you're a woman, you can talk to a different black man and he might not be the black man who's doing violent crime and doing domestic abuse. And it would be really silly of you to dismiss all black men because some black men do more crime. That's a really bad idea. It's a bad way to select a partner.
Well, you're reducing your chance of getting married to someone that does violent crime, right?
Yeah, I think
Can I get an opinion
the issue is that
on
white
something?
men still do domestic abuse. It's not actually a better metric of who's going to abuse you. Isn't going to be the color of their skin. It's actually going to be the level of antisocial personality that
if you are just looking at the color of skin, you probably get married to an Asian guy, right?
I just wouldn't recommend that. I would say
no. It's you can't just use one variable and choose everything off of it, right? I agree with that.
Virginity, yes.
But you seem to keep isolating these variables.
You can be like, she needs to be a virgin and submissive and religious. Those are usually very correlated.
They are usually correlated, but what you're actually selecting for is typically the submission and the religious values. You don't really care about the virginity, because I'm going to guess if you found a woman who was highly submissive and very religious, but maybe had a higher body count, maybe she messed up when she was, what if she was 19 to 20, she wasn't born again, she grew up in a really messy household, she found Jesus, she became very devout, she's never slept with anyone since. That's still a really good option for a partner. Right?
Well, someone else can save her. Someone else can save her. I'm not saving her.
Jesus saved her. You don't need to save her.
I'm not married. I'm not marrying her. I'm not taking care. I'm not pulling that wagon. I'll find, because there are 18-year-old virgins who are religious and submissive, and they did not have to go through their college hoe phase. Those women exist. I will look for those women.
You can. I'm just telling you that when you're recommending to most men to just be looking for virgins, it's bad advice, because virginity is not going to be the best predictor of a good partner. There are better metrics to recommend. You can have that personal preference, all you like. I don't care. It's about the advice you're giving other men, because the advice you're giving other men is actually setting them up for a worse selection bias, because you're using virginity, which doesn't map on super well to longevity relationship, as a major mark of it, because you like virginity, which is fine. You're allowed to feel whatever way you want about your different preferences. The issue is it's not the best marker of a long-term relationship, and you know that. There are better
what is the single best marker? Don't give me 8 different things. Give me one that is better than virginity.
Similarity in personalities, a much
personality
better
type. Okay.
Yeah.
No, I guess I'll try to.
I wanted to get your opinion on something.
Sure.
Go ahead, Jane.
Yeah. So, do you think when people start selecting partners based on these factors that, like you were saying, is like it's just a correlation, not necessarily a cause of like longevity, is there some element of like self-sabotage or like a self-fulfilling prophecy of, oh, they're just not out there for me, or oh, they don't want me, or like it's almost like you're feeding into this cycle by limiting your options with all of these like insane standards and like guidelines for like what you want?
This is to me, right?
Anyone. I want both of your opinions.
I guess I'll answer. I mean, yeah, America is the worst place in the world to try to find a virgin wife, for sure. I'm sure actually maybe Sweden's worse, but the West in general. But
Right,
it's
so
kind of like trying to find a virgin white woman who's submissive is like playing the lottery. I don't plan on winning the lottery. I'll buy a lottery ticket. I hope I win. Please let me win. But when I'm serious about getting a wife, I'll probably just fly overseas.
Well, I thought you weren't into white chicks, man. I thought you weren't too fond of white chicks.
But if she has to like check all these boxes, you're like limiting so many great potential partners for yourself and for the people you're giving the advice to.
But I think like to be fair,
like when you go after something that's like outside of like the range of like what might be possible, you're kind of like
in the West,
kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
But I think to be fair to Chronic, I can't believe like I'm just taking Chronic's side so much. But
thank you so much.
But to be fair to him, like his standards are no crazier than the standards a lot of women have. Like, which are like, I want a guy who's like makes $500,000, 6'4". Like, I don't know. He has like pretty crazy standards, but like, I don't know. I would say like he's entitled to his standards.
Hold on. That's not what the argument's about. Nobody, I'm not telling Chronic that he can't prefer to have virgins. I'm not saying that. I already told Chronic, you can have whatever you want. That's fine. Here's the thing. You can avoid women with a high body count because you don't want women with a high body count. That's fine. The issue is he's trying to post hoc cope by saying that high body count women must be worse partners. He's moralizing a preference. Women having a high body count being a big red flag, but there are much bigger red flags and much more concerning warning signs that are not being included as disqualifiers.
And if I only take
I would agree with that
into account, if I only look at body count, if I only look at body count, all those other things, just off of only looking at one variable, it doesn't matter. If all my fans marry a virgin versus all my fans marry non-virgin, less fans will get divorced if they marry a virgin. I don't talk about personality differences. I don't talk about all the other things that you could measure individually. I am just telling them, no hymen, no diamond.
No, the reality is that most of your viewers won't get married. That's the reality.
I do think most of them aren't going to get married. No, I agree. Like, I think half of my viewers are MGTOW, so they don't want to get married. Another fourth are, they're like, maybe. I'm just here for comedy. But I don't know what percentage of my here. I'll do a poll on my channel right now. How many of you guys want to get married? We'll find out.
That's not the point, though. That's again shifting it. It doesn't matter whether they want to. If you're
saying, shifting it, I'm trying to give you some data.
But the issue is, your argument was virgins make the best partners. They're the best for longevity. You should select for virgins because they'll make better partners. And I'm telling you, that's a post hoc rationalization. That's not really true, particularly when it comes to selecting.
No, and you add all these other variables in, it's not true. But again, when it comes to hard science, you look at one variable. You control one variable.
You can't. No. It's an ecological fallacy to do so. That's what I'm telling you. You are wrong to do that. Virginity is a bad individual selector. It's very bad.
Well, not off the data.
I think on top of that, since again, like most of your audience is male, most of your audience probably lives in the West, so most of the selection that you're limiting their selection, and on top of that, you're not giving advice that again might try to help them become better partners and make people less likely to divorce.
Go to the gym, get social,
sure.
make money.
But is that it? Like, do you think like maybe like communication with your partner, being like this? Someone posted an article earlier in the private chat here, and like one of they listed these like 4 horsemen that predict the end of a marriage, and they're like having contempt for your partner, being very defensive in a relationship, stonewalling your partner. These are all probably important things to talk about if again your primary goal is to help men avoid divorce. Like, I don't think that like if you're just selecting for virginity, and again, like another problem with like you said earlier, like this idea of like not being able to change so much, right? Like the only control you have in terms of like whether or not someone's a virgin is like whether or not you have sex with them, and that can only go one direction, right? So you're like kind of like giving these men like less control over their relationships.
Okay, I understand Kyla's argument now. Okay, so the question to Chronic would be then, like, why not talk about these other factors in addition to the no hymen, no diamond thing?
I'm not a marriage counselor. I'm not a therapist.
But you're making things worse off for your viewers. You're literally giving them...
Oh, because I'm not giving them advice on how to live their complete life. I'm making it worse just because I'm giving them advice on how to avoid divorce.
You're giving them bad
advice. I'm not all seeing, okay? I could teach them about genetics. I'm not going to teach them about,
changing personality. My follow-up question would be like, you know, you clearly talk about some things related to like relationship and marriage, no hymen, no diamond. Why like the focus on that instead of like focusing more holistically on all the factors in addition to that? Like you're not shy about talking about this topic clearly, since you say no hymen, no diamond repeatedly. So why not like broaden it if your goal is to like help your audience as much as possible?
Yeah, no, I think my goal is to attack feminism from every angle. The no hymen, no diamond is just a, you know, because when I read these Reddit stories of some chick with a body count of 20 saying it's like, you know, I got a guy, he proposed to me, he takes care of my 2 kids that aren't his, but I feel like I'm settling because, you know, he's only 5'10", right? And then I'll say, no hymen, no diamond. Why you give these bitches chances? So then I get single mother. That's a whole nother can of worms. It's like doing a backflip and doing acid barrel.
Okay, so it's more of like a trolling type of slogan.
Well, I believe in the slogan, but like the purpose of my channel isn't to convince everybody in the world that
the issue is actually specifically your advice is arbitrarily shrinking the dating pool of these men who are already statistically unlikely to find a partner. Most of your men, I'm going to be honest, attractive virgin religious girls wouldn't look twice at anyways. And they're probably not going to be well matched to be a partner with them because they're probably not Christian and they probably
how do you no, let's go through that slow. Why do virgins not care about my audience?
Are you religious?
Yes.
Okay, so justify to me why, as a religious man, you have slept with 80 to 160 women.
Because every man has sinned. What am I supposed to say?
Jesus. Every woman is.
I'm not Jesus. I'm not perfect.
So you're just going to just hand wave your sin, but also demand that your woman be religious?
Oh my God.
Well, you know, in the Bible it says you shouldn't marry a non-virgin. It's talking about women.
It doesn't say
that. Also,
it
says you shouldn't consort with prostitutes. So I'm not going to marry a prostitute. I'm not going to have sex with a prostitute.
Sure, but why would a woman lay with you when you have never upheld your own religious standards? You talk horribly, you treat people cruelly, you talk smack about other people. None of this is part of the Christian ethic.
So being mean makes me not a Christian. Is that what you're saying?
No, not being mean. Deriding other people constantly.
Deriding other people.
What does Jesus say about hypocrites?
How did Jesus get the moneylenders out of the temple?
What does Jesus say about
He didn't go in there and talk about ad hoc and be really nice. He got a fucking whip and he whipped those Jewish moneylenders out of the temple.
Sure, I'll
That's
circle back.
The big problem with Christianity. The big problem with Christianity today is that it is run by soft New Testament obsessed. They are obsessed with forgiveness. They are obsessed with turning the other cheek. They completely forgot about the Old Testament. They completely forgot about duty. It's been neutered. It's been neutered. I would say 99% of pastors in America are feminists, and I consider them heathens.
Stop. What did Jesus say about hypocrites?
He said that if you're a hypocrite, you're probably green.
No, he said, take the plank out of your own eye before you attempt to take the speck out of your brother's. That's what he said.
Ooh.
Why would a religious woman ever consider you or men who try to embody your behavior? You're defiling the old
religious woman who demand a virgin man. I support that decision. This might sound crazy to you, there are religious women that are willing to submit to a non-virgin man. Crazy, right?
You're right. There are women willing to do that. The issue is, how can you tell me that you're going to have the religious values necessary to hold it up? Because you're right, you might get the virgin, but I'm telling you right now, your morals and values will matter more to the longevity of that relationship. And when she finds out that you don't even hold to your own religious values, that's going to be a problem.
No, she'll find out the first day she asks me, Chronic, are you a virgin? No. Sorry, I wish I was. I really wish I was. I wish there was virgin women out there that didn't divorce and didn't take their kids away from their father at the point of a gun held by the cops. I wish I found the perfect virgin bride when I was 18. I'd be chilling with a family. I wouldn't even have to make this channel. But those women are
but if you just kind of selected other women, gave other women a chance, you wouldn't.
Oh yeah, no. If the mother with 3 kids that was getting beat with a belt by her husband picked a different dude, she'd be fine, right?
Do you want to know what Jesus said about hypocrites?
Say it again.
He said, to at least enter the kingdom of heaven, you have to be better than these. He said the bare minimum for entry is to be better than a hypocrite. Which means,
what did Paul say about women teaching?
Okay, you're really gonna try to quote?
No, seriously, seriously. Like, how do you square that circle? No, seriously.
Go ahead. Keep weaseling. Go ahead.
What do you say about it? I do not permit a woman to teach. So you're picking and choosing what to follow and what situation to put it in. But you coach. You offer coaching. So you're teaching a lot of people. You don't
offer coaching.
She doesn't know.
Well, okay, so quick aside.
You don't know anything
No.
about
Quick aside, NotsoErudite. I'll send you the website. I think someone's trying to pretend to be you offering coaching. I saw a coaching website with NotsoErudite on it, so you should get that sorted out.
Is it? If you are such a slut that you can't stop sleeping with all of these women, if you just can't control your
men
dick,
can't be sluts.
then the least you can do is listen to Jesus and mind the speck in your own eye.
You can listen to his favorite disciple and stop teaching.
The reason Jesus got to walk into the temple and flip the tables and use the whip is because he was blameless. He had minded his own speck, and you have not. You're also
yeah. If you're comparing me to Jesus, I'm going to fail every time. But this is why we shouldn't let women teach, because they can't get a grasp of the Bible.
You're actually misquoting scripture when you're saying that. You realize that, right?
Well, I mean, I asked you, right?
Like, wait, what specifically do you disagree with Erudite about in her point? I feel like she's making a pretty decent point, no?
Oh no, I agree. You should, but you can't. I can't go back in the past. No, let me finish, Erudite. Okay,
let's go back to some other low-hanging fruit. Go ahead and weasel. Go ahead.
I got 2 low-hanging fruit you can hit up if you ever get divorced. I'm just kidding. That was low. That was a really low blow.
Women, by the way, Paul said that women can't teach in the church. He never said women cannot teach at all.
Yeah, so I guess when you're not in church, God's not with you, right?
What? No, he literally said women shouldn't be standing in the church teaching. But he never said anything about them teaching in general. So there's no problem.
Yeah, so you should act completely different inside the church, not the church, right? Who is doing all that freaking static?
I have no idea. Wait, Chronic, I think it'd be more interesting if you engage with Erudite and actually the point she was making instead of like saying she can't teach.
Oh, no. She wants to, She's saying you shouldn't attack other people without addressing your own. Yeah, I should have been a virgin. Sure. I wish I got the virgin bride. But to my Brutus,
You've already said you plan to keep on sleeping around for a while until you can find a good woman, and then you're going to go convince her to stay with you, the nice virgin across the seas, and la. So not only are you
not really plan on sleeping around. That's not an active plan.
Your plan is to continue to be in sin, and yet you're waving around religious doctrine.
Well, I mean, your plan is to continue teaching in sin. Right?
Get the word out of your mouth. You don't have any right to be bludgeoning people with it. You have no ground to stand on.
This is a woman trying to teach me scripture.
I'm allowed to. I'm not in church.
You're allowed. Oh, yes. And I'm sure in church you are just a quiet mouse.
Usually, yeah. I'm usually like reading and writing.
Yeah, I don't think.
Do you think I just stand up
Avery wants to stand up and argue with the pastor.
Yeah, typically when he's teaching a sermon, I don't stand up and start screaming at him. Yes, I have decent manners.
I'm not religious, so I personally don't care about the religious argument, although I think it is an interesting one. My criticism would be a little different. It would be going back to what Kyle was saying earlier, is that like I do think that the people who watch your channel and people who watch my channel too, anyone in the manosphere is probably struggling. At least a lot of them are struggling to get women. So if we're like artificially really limiting their options, I feel like we're not doing them any favors.
So I got 70% of the people watching my channel right now say no, they're not interested in getting married. So I guess the 30% I'm watching, we can argue about whether I'm helping them or hurting them.
Well, then what's the point of isn't it like the no hymen, no diamond thing in the top of your screen? Like I clicked through a few of your streams because we were supposed to talk recently. So
I'm sorry.
Like why? Well, I know I'm not mad about it. I'm just saying why then do you have that as like such a prominent feature of your stream if so much of your audience doesn't even care about getting married?
Yeah. So no hymen. What do you say? I didn't hear what you said.
Or they won't benefit. It's a really, really bad advice for most
men. The woman doesn't think you should. Okay, yeah, okay, sure, okay. You believe that. I don't believe that. We can move on because I think we had that same conversation like 8 times. The no hymen, no diamond thing, because I get girls emailing me or commenting like, Chronic, I did a backflip off a horse and laid it on a fence post. Chronic, I was born without a hymen. Does that mean like, no, it's a freaking meme, okay? It's a meme. There are some women born without hymens. There are some women that they have their hymen so sealed that when they have their period, it builds up and it causes them a medical emergency, right? That happens. It's just a meme, no hymen, no diamond, because it rhymes and it pisses off non-virgins.
Okay.
But really, we're talking about virginity.
Okay. I get it. It's like 50% trolling, 50% like semi.
Yeah, it's like it's like the it's okay to be white kind of thing.
Okay.
It pisses off a lot of people. They can't say why it pisses them off, but it pisses them off.
I can tell you why.
Why?
What percentage of like your rhetoric is focused on like pissing people off, and like what percentage of it is focused on like making a point? Like, what you say?
I don't know. I just had to listen to my videos. If it's like a Reddit response, it's probably like 80% entertainment, right? You're not gonna like some dude's just like, my wife asked for an open marriage and had sex with my brother, cousin, and dog. What do I do? Should I do? I'm not sure if I should divorce her. Like, you're not gonna. What are you gonna learn from that, right? It's entertainment.
You know what? I'm glad that you're letting your audience know, just so everyone knows, if you watch Undead Chronic, he is not trying to give you good advice. In fact, he admits that his advice is probably bad for you, and you shouldn't take it. He's just trying to entertain and have a good time.
Wait, I said it was bad advice?
Of course you did.
I never admitted it was bad advice.
Yeah, you agreed.
You said if you bring in all these other factors that I spent 3 years on a master's degree studying, it's not the best advice. I said, sure.
Sure, I'll just pull up what you agreed to, which was.
Yeah, sure. I'll bring it up.
So what you're saying, like in reality, it's bad advice. But if you
No, it's
isolate
not
for just
bad
those one factors,
no, I'm in no diamond.
Isn't that how reality works, right?
It's
You can't
distinct.
isolate for that factor alone in reality. So
Well, here's some advice. Here's some advice.
That virginity is not a good predictor for longevity, and that there are better predictors. So
if I said that, I take it back.
Bad advice.
No, if I said virginity was not a good predictor, I take it back. It is.
You agreed that it wasn't a super strong
What I said is there
you
might
also
be other.
agreed that it was an arbitrary way of shrinking.
What I said is
for your men, and therefore not exactly. You could surmise, I guess. It's not a good tool for men.
Let me respond to that.
Partners.
Let me respond to that. Yeah, it's shrinking your dating pool, obviously, for marriage, right?
With
virginity is something you should still pursue. I will not. When I clarify why I believe so, it's not saying I don't believe so anymore.
You're just admitting.
If there's a million other factors out there that we don't know, we can't prove, sure they might exist. It's still correlated with virginity.
It's correlated with other things, and virginity is
which is correlated with virginity, right? So I'm still saying no hymen, no diamond. So no, I didn't say it was bad advice.
So you're getting an epiphenomenon. I'd be like, look, the best time to not go outside because you're risking getting robbed is in the summer, because in the summer, crime is at an all-time high. In fact, you know what's driving it? You know what else goes up during the summer? Ice cream sales. We should stop having ice cream sales. You know what? We should ban all ice cream sales in the summer, and that'll probably solve our crime problems. That's what you're doing to these men, which, go ahead. It's just bad advice.
I mean, it's bad advice from the perspective of a woman that can think of a million other variables because you're trained in doing so.
No, it's math. It's just math.
Oh, it's just math that, despite don't trust your lying eyes. The graph is wrong. Don't look at it.
I'm not a woman, and I agree. So.
Okay.
Dude, you said you'd be down marrying a porn star. Like, I'm obviously not the kind of guy you'd listen to for advice.
I said I'd consider it. I'm not
like even if it's a possibility.
So,
like it's never there's zero possibility for me.
Okay, but do you think that you can just safely dismiss everything else I have to say because of that?
No, but you said no. Go continue what you're saying, because you were saying that I forgot why I said that.
I said was that you were dismissing Erudite on behalf of being a woman, and I said, well, I agree with what she was saying, and I'm a man.
Oh yeah, no,
I studied computer science and math.
Yeah, I'm bringing it up because she is a woman. I'm a man. She is not going to get ass fucked by the divorce courts, right? When you assess risk of getting ass fucked by a divorce court, the woman doesn't even need lube. She's not concerned about it. She could walk in the family court naked. Dudes, on the other hand, bro, you got to get silicone-based lube, water-based lubricant. You better have a plug-in to make sure it doesn't rip your sphincter, because the family court will destroy you. The family court destroys men in the West. That is why there's such a positive reaction to no hymen, no diamond, and anything else to prevent you from getting your life destroyed, your family ripped in half, and all the other horrible things that happen with divorce.
Which is why I personally say don't get married. But, yeah.
And I have no argument against that, Alex. Like when I talked to Hammerhand, he says, there's no reason to get married. You want to avoid this. It's an assessment of what do you want out of life. If you want kids, marriage is definitely going to.
Seems like a lot of fear-based thinking.
No, I mean, fair enough. I
Unless you
agree.
want to do like a surrogacy, or I don't know, like you get surrogacy, and then I don't know, it's just single father with kids. It's expensive. I'm not
I will
too.
agree with you. Family court is terrible for men. Absolutely, it's awful.
Let's redirect back to
It's just to be clear, all of this random monologue has nothing to do with the fact that virginity is not a good individual predictor for who will be a good partner.
Well, because individuals
does
are
not
more than
equal good partners.
well, because individuals are a million things besides their body count,
Yes,
right?
we agree.
Yeah.
Yes, so we agree.
And so when I
Thank
say
you.
no hymen, no diamond, all those other
It's just
things
a
are
meme.
null. I'm not talking
Yeah,
about
yeah.
anything
It's just
else.
a meme.
I'm
It's
just
just a
talking about body count. One
right,
variable.
which you agree
One
is
variable.
one of the least important variables. So we agree.
I mean, I didn't agree. You can say we agree 8 times. I'm not agreeing with you.
Well, you basically
Making it
have
clear.
agreed. You said that there are other factors. There are even
There
better
are
factors.
other
and other-
factors, and then you
and-
said it means it's the least, and I said no.
I didn't say the
They're
least.
not.
I didn't say the least. I said it's not the most predictive. There are better factors.
And
Much
I think
better
I
factors.
want.
I
I
said
want
virginity specifically is an epiphenomenon
again.
of statistical
I want
correlations.
a study based on personality similarities and divorce outcomes. And I'm not saying that as confrontational. I actually
No, I
want
hear
the
you.
study.
Sure. Yeah, there's plenty. I can literally just Google it, or so I will send you one afterwards if you would like.
Sure.
Sorry.
We'll have to find a way to connect. I'll need your Discord or something.
I think on top of that, again, it comes back to like when people meet a potential partner, they're usually probably not like falling for someone like based on this factor that again we've been isolating for here. They're probably meeting someone more organically and then like considering them as a partner. And so if they're going to start a relationship with this person, whether or not it's a virgin or not, again, like I think you would want to focus on ways that this person can become a better partner. Not just, I mean, you mentioned like going to the gym and stuff. Like, sure, you might be more appealing to a broader selection of people by going to the gym and doing things like this. But like just being a better partner in general probably doesn't just come from like being buffered, right?
Yeah, it's like if I'm trying to teach some of my undergrad students how to grow human cells, if to make them better students, I should probably teach them how to grow weird ass bacteria that are hard to grow. But I don't have that skill set. I could learn that skill set. I could take a lot of time to study it, but no, I'm not. They can go to the lab next door.
So, you've kind of conceded that the no hymen, no diamond thing is mostly just a meme.
I did not concede that. It's
okay.
like that. Okay, it is a meme with a purpose, kind of like it,
exactly.
Right. Well, first of all, it pisses off non-virgins. It pisses off feminists. It pisses off people that think that body count, you just sexual freedom. I can be a turbo slut, right? Pisses them off.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Two, it promotes virginity, right?
Does
it's
you
catchy.
putting that on your stream
it
make
promotes,
women less likely to have sex?
I don't think it promotes virginity.
I mean, no. I got like anecdotal studies. I got like 2 people who email me, but no, it doesn't prove. It's not going to change women's decisions.
Yeah,
I think I got like 10% female audience, but it more promotes men selecting for virgins for marriage.
Yeah, potentially. But I don't think it's going to prevent men from having sex. I think men who watch your channel are still going to fuck if they can get laid, because they feel like that no hymen, no diamond doesn't apply to them, right? And then I think chicks are either typically not watching your channel, and like to be fair, they're not really watching my channel either. But if they are watching the channel, they're still going to have sex.
I think you have more female viewers than I do, just based on the women that call in. I'm pretty sure I would probably bet you do.
Yeah, probably. But again, most of my audience is like male, right? Similar to yours.
Yeah.
And you're not really encouraging your male. Are you encouraging your male audience to be virgins, or like at least not sleep around much?
Me or Chronic?
Chronic.
I think when I had a couple virgins call and they're just like, I'm sick of being a virgin. What's the big deal? I want a wife and kids. I kind of told them, I was just like, the first person you sleep with is going to be on your mind, like not forever, but it's kind of a big deal. I was like, I would just hold out to the woman that you can get married to. So, I mean, if he's already a virgin and he's like has the opportunity to have meaningless sex with a hookup, I'm like, don't waste that on some random Tinder chick, unless you just don't care about the kind of emotional bonding you'll have with your future wife, or if you don't want to get married. If you don't want to get married, it's whatever, do what you want.
See, I would fundamentally disagree with that piece of advice. Like, if a virgin called in, I would tell them no. Like I have virgins call in like, hey man, I'm not really the hookup guy. I like your content, but I'm looking for a relationship. Like, okay, well, still go out there, hook up with a few girls, and then you get into a relationship. I think you need to, one, like a lot of these guys who are like virgins, they're gonna get so super attached to the first woman they have sex with, which is great if she's the right woman, except typically she's not going to be the right type of woman because those guys are not really good at screening. They don't have abundance, so they're just going to go with the first chick that sleeps with them anyway. So I think it's much better if you can get some experience, become a little bit more detached, a little bit more rational, and then pick a relationship from a place of abundance instead of from a place of scarcity. So I would just like fundamentally disagree with that advice.
I mean, yeah, it's just there's pros and cons of both approaches, right? I mean, the pro is if you get a body count, having sex isn't special. You can avoid falling in love with a chick who's horrible for you because you think she's special because she's the first person you had sex with. The negative is you found a wife. Your body count, your Chronic's body count, you're disgusting. You're a walking disease bag. It's not gonna. You can't compare it to only having one partner each. You lost that. So, but it's playing with fire, if I can use the term.
I personally don't think though that women. I think like men's whatever sexual body count doesn't really matter in their ability to get a partner. I think if anything could potentially help a little bit, but I don't think like you're disadvantaged because you have a higher body count. Like my body count is like super high. I've never felt
I think it just depends on what population of women you're talking to, right? So NotsoErudite said these super conservative religious girls. Yeah, I'm gonna have a harder time having a relationship with one than if I was a virgin. That's for sure. That's their values. And you're right, Alex. If you come off like a turbo virgin, if you outright say in the club you're a virgin, that's going to turn a lot of chicks off.
Most chicks, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to find your wifey in a club though.
Oh, no way. No way.
So it doesn't matter if you're turning them off with it.
Let's go back to the single mother thing. I think that was interesting. I think agreement there. All right, let me also bring on, if you don't mind, I'll bring on one more person. Looks for L. He's been dying to get on. You cool with that, Kyla?
Sure.
Okay.
Yo, by the way, yeah, just be careful. There's a lot of people making fake accounts of me. These people.
Yeah, man, I'm losing track with all the fake and real accounts.
Yeah, I've seen your face a lot more than I've seen you.
Yeah, it's true. By the way, Undead, I gotta say, you got some pretty interesting takes. So
everybody disagrees with me. That's all right.
Well, no, I don't actually.
Or you could say I disagree with everybody.
Probably mostly agree with you. I would
yeah, actually, mostly because in general, like getting a virgin woman is like a better idea for a lot of reasons. It's backed up by a lot of evidence as well. So like, if you're looking at it from a purely pragmatic lens, like it's a better idea to find a virgin, obviously. But it's like, how many of them exist in the West? You know, you have to go to fucking somewhere in Europe or I don't know.
And you gotta have a lot of resources to
be able to church. There's lots of them in the church. The problem is you have to be religious and you have to uphold your religious values.
There's more in the church. I wouldn't say there's lots. I'd say there's a lot more.
If you're wanting a virgin submissive woman, she's probably in church.
Oh,
maybe overseas, yes.
No, in North America, like everyone who says that like all these church women are ran through, you've just not been to church. I don't know what to tell you. I grew up in the church.
Yeah, I disagree.
I've been in all of the women's groups. I can tell you right now, there are plenty of virgins out there.
I disagree with the idea that church women are just as bad as non-church women, but I also think there's a lot of born-again virgins in the church.
Yeah.
Sure. For sure. Like, I'm not saying every single woman who's at a church is obviously a virgin. I mean, clearly not. It's just like, it's just very interesting to me. All these guys who talk about virginity and are so obsessed with it aren't interested in going to church and aren't interested in being religious.
It's also like an investment in time, right? So you go to a church, even if it's like a mega church. Let's just say it's a church. You go to some young adults group, some small group. Let's say there's 40 women there, right?
Yeah, but you're looking for your wifey, of course.
Yeah, no. Let's go through here.
Matter. How many? You're not going to go through Tinder to find your wife.
No. How many of those women are going to be attracted to you? That cuts it down. I don't know, 10, maybe if you're that. Okay. How many of those women are single? 4, 3. I don't know. It's just, and so when even though there's a lot of virgins in the church, and like to get to know them to the point where they are comfortable entering a relationship with you, it's going to be at least half a year to a year. So you can do that to a couple churches and strike out, and then like what church hop? And you're spending a lot of time going to different churches, trying to form a relationship with a potential partner to have children with, where
Hey,
Men don't have that time. And TikTok, men have a clock too.
No one's saying it's not difficult, but like, I mean, what's another environment that you could like? Do you have an alternative? Like, what's a better environment to find what you're looking for specifically?
Yeah,
Like,
it's just for virgins. It's just
Erudite's on the money when she said churches. Outside of churches,
different countries.
I'd say overseas. Yeah, I'd say overseas.
But then now you're running into issues if you're not going to have shared values. A lot of overseas like immigrant relationships are super, super strained because you won't have similar marriages. And a lot of these marriages, you're right, they don't get divorced. They just live separate, and she fucking hates you for the rest of your life. That's like such a common outcome with immigrant relationships. Particularly where it's like a white guy who finds like an immigrant woman and brings her back.
I mean, I guess I'd have to like, is that like off of like people you know? Is that off of?
That's going to be a mixture of like anecdotal and
no, yeah, because in my anecdotes they all turn out perfectly, but I know other people that say, Colin, they're like they describe exactly what you describe. It's like the white husband has to send money to China. He hates it. Parents come in, they live for like 6 months. They like poop in his shower. No, it's still a coin flip.
Poop in the shower.
No, I've heard crazy stuff, but like at the end of the day, a miserable marriage versus getting divorced and having your white American wife take your kids to California to castrate them. I think I'm going to be miserable instead of that first one.
Okay, so obviously you're being hyperbolic, but the issue is like you're even coping about church girls. Like you're saying it's going to take like 6 months to even date one. Like you can talk to a girl for like 2 hours and probably get a pretty good feel about if she's into you and if there's any potential. And then you can just move on. How many hours do you guys spend at the club trying to hit up girls to get them to sleep?
No, so
how many hours do you spend on Tinder?
When you say it's a cope, and I'm not trying to insult you for being a woman, you are projecting your outlook on dating onto men talking to women in a church. You can talk to get a no. It's like, oh, I like to date this girl. But church girls aren't going to say, let's go on a date within 2 hours. You have to be around. You have to, build a friendship first. Some will, but it's not like you see the cute girl at a coffee shop or a dating app where it's like you ask them on a date. It's like a yes or no. And if you go into a church, thing. This isn't really. There's no stats behind this. You go into a church. I'm speaking from personal experience. You ask a attractive woman out. She says
to say exactly what I just said. So have fun.
She says no, right?
She brought in the man to come speak.
She says no, and then you ruin the whole vibe with the whole church group.
Dude, I don't know. I feel like what I do is like.
Have you ever dated a girl from church?
A couple.
Are you sure?
I mean, I guess it could have been gargoyles. They seem to go to church.
I'll be frank. I just don't know if I believe you because you said it takes like 6 months to establish a relationship, and that you got to go to church group to talk to them. It's like, bro, if you've ever been to a church service, it lasts like an hour, and then everybody mingles for like 2 hours.
And then do you
guys ask people to go out to lunch? Because I did it.
Okay, well, like going out to lunch is completely different than going on a date.
Okay, so I've dated a bunch of church girls.
Yeah.
By asking them out to lunch after church.
So you think you were on dates when you took them to lunch, and there's no romantic potential there. Like in your head there is, but maybe they think you're asking them as a friend. When I say date, I mean
dated a bunch. So I dated a bunch.
Yes.
And then I had relationships with them.
How long was it between meeting them and the relationship became official?
Different on a bunch of them. Me and Erudite started dating. So me and Erudite started dating after 2 months from talking to each other. And then we got married after a whole nother year. And now we've been married for 4 years. And I dated other church girls. I dated one church girl.
Not after you got married, right?
Part. Hey.
Not after you got married, right?
No, not after I got
married.
I'm
sorry. Okay, the timeline's confused. I'm like, wait a second.
Yeah, no, the timeline.
No, like the 6 months thing was just a number I threw out. What I was saying is, it's not like you can go to a church, find like 3 or 4 girls that you could somewhat be attracted to, ask them on a date, and then just go to the next church. It takes a time investment.
That's why I'm questioning whether or not you've dated any church girls, because you just can and I have.
Because I can't and you have. Is that what you're saying?
What I'm saying is I'm starting to doubt whether or not you've ever dated girls from church, because you're saying you can't do X, right? And I have done X.
Oh, well, no. Yeah. You have bucked the general trend I set. What I was saying is, it's not like you could go into a church one day and ask out a girl and you're gonna succeed from that. The best way to do it is to go to a church.
Like, what does succeed mean? Get into a long-term relationship and get married?
I would even say
romantic date.
No, I would even say just going on a date. I think church girls are going to be more likely than not to want to date people they know they see they're serious about the church instead of like this newcomer who came into the church.
This is a misunderstanding. So there's a weird thing that occurs in the church where almost none of the guys that go to church every Sunday ever ask any girls out on a date because devout Christians get really shamed about sex, right? So if you grow up in the church like me, you're surrounded by guys who have been told it is wrong for you to look upon a woman with lust because if you have, then you have fornicated with her in your heart, right? And so they get terrified of ever asking girls out on a date. And they just don't do it. That's what devout Christian men think. It's a real travesty, right? But if you go into the church and you have a modicum of riz and a little bit of respect, and you have some quality to you, yeah, riz.
Okay. So if you I was like, wait, what?
and you start. Listen, I can do both. I can do the theology and the. And
no, I don't know. I just haven't heard that. Yeah, I've only heard youth pastors use that term, so I thought it's funny.
Kind of like intuitively.
Really quick. So I'm so sorry. You said only youth pastors say Riz?
No. I said I've only heard youth pastors say Riz.
Really?
That's just it might be a weird kind of shtick from where.
I've been hearing it a lot on my channel in the last like 2 weeks. It actually started very recently.
Riz and pizzazz. Those
Riz, I've been hearing Riz a lot. But going back to the discussion,
but not for youth pastors.
I would kind of like intuitively agree with Nick because I feel like most guys at church are going to be like super beta. They're not going to like fucking. They're going to have a lot of shame around sex. They're going to be like really like timid. And like, so I feel like all these church girls are just basically right for the picking. Like, I feel like if I was religious, I went to church, I could probably do pretty good. I just don't want to wait like 4 months to have sex. But yeah.
Listen, I wish you had said right for the picking because that's talking down to my sisters, man. But it's true. It's really true.
I think it's so true.
It just is. Like, I mean, if you just walk into church with a tiny bit of riz, you're massively ahead of the pack. Men are vastly disproportionately more likely to leave the church than women are. You know, like women tend to be more likely to stick to their father's values until they find a partner. So they just stay in church. They desperately hope and wait for a man because they can't go and ask, and no one's there. And the guys that are there suck. So church is the spot.
I gotta say that
especially if you have some quality.
It's not always that you have to wait like months and months in order to get like a virgin to sleep with you. As long as you reach that looks level for her, anything is really possible, to be honest.
All right, Looks, bro, that's your spot then. Just start going to church, bro. The 384 is going to jump to a 3,000 real quick.
Well, no, you're not understanding how powerful the looks halo is in real life. Like, if a woman truly desires you, a lot of things go out the window. She'll make exceptions for you. Like, a lot of shit will slide. You have no idea.
Looks, is there any argument you ever make that doesn't like come back to looks? Like when you're discussing,
it always comes back to looks.
Look at his name, bro.
You're discussing like I can imagine looks for like the fucking Thanksgiving or Christmas dinner. They're discussing like the Ukraine war. They're like, yeah, it's like really shame what the Russians do. Well, actually, these Ukrainian dudes were better looking. They could have already fought Russia back already. But the thing is
bro.
When you're not,
you're more likely. They're more likely to pass the cranberry sauce if you're good looking.
Nah, bro. Riz goes to the turkey farm. It's just like, when you look like this, the juiciest turkeys will naturally come up to you to be selected.
Indeed. I don't know. It's more powerful than you think. Like, I've been with some girls like that. It's rare for sure. But, like, if they desire you enough, they'll make exceptions, I promise you. Like, rules that they make.
I would say, me personally, I don't really want to sleep with a virgin. I've done that, like, several times, and it was, like, very unsatisfying.
No, if you're just going for the action of sex, virgins are not who you want to be having sex with.
Right, you can also teach her like everything, and it'll be just you too. There's no like she hasn't been ran through or anything, so it's like a better idea.
Do you guys disagree with like the Andrew Tate quote about how like everything to men is about status, and so like even when we have sex, like if you've had enough sex, it's it's pretty cool or whatever, but it's not super special. In reality, men want a high body count because it means that they're high quality or whatever, and men only care about status. That's like his whole argument.
I think it's oversimplified, but I think status matters a lot. But I think also ego is another huge factor.
Yeah, it's definitely ego.
Status and ego combined, yeah.
Okay, cool.
I mean, maybe.
Can I ask a question? So, say you find this like perfect virgin, Are you respecting her choice to stay a virgin and marrying her as a virgin, or are you trying to get her to compromise her virginity?
I'm trying to smash. I'd respect the choice. No, I'd respect the choice.
These men don't respect daughters of Christ, dude. They're ran through. These men are sluts. They ain't loyal.
You got to respect her choice if that's why you're dating her, right? Now the tricky spot is like, let's say you get engaged and you end up having sex. If you go through the marriage, no harm, no foul, but you bounce for whatever reason. Like if you just bounce because like I'm bored or whatever, yeah, that's bad on you. But I think I had sex with a virgin 8 months ago. Relationship going forward looked good. And she's like, "Oh, I don't want any kids." What? I don't want any kids. Well, I'm out of here. Useless.
Yeah.
All right, Chronic. So here's a hypothetical. So you meet a virgin, right? And she's like, "I want to have as many kids as you." So you would wait until marriage to have sex with her?
Yeah, but I'm also one to move fast in a relationship. I'm not going to date her for 6 years. And then,
he's probably going to marry her within a few months.
But you would marry her, right? Okay.
So you just want to marry her quick if everything.
No, quick. I mean, quick is all relative, right? I would say date for a year, get engaged, stay engaged for a year, and then we get married.
Okay, I think that's pretty reasonable. But here's part 2 of the hypothetical. So on your wedding night, you married this perfect virgin. Everything looks good. You get into the bedroom.
She looks good. She doesn't have a penis.
And she has the smelliest vagina ever, which does not go away no matter how much you wash it. We're talking about repugnant smell. But now you've married this chick. What do you do?
Okay, I'm going to assume this is like a magical smelly vagina because first I take her to the clinic. Because we're
talking about her pH is just fucked, man. Like I don't know what it is.
No, they got drugs. They got drugs for that. Okay, I've been having that chick eating cranberries with everything. First of all,
So you don't even want to see her naked before you get married.
Let me give you a more realistic hypothetical.
I'm sorry. I'm going too scientific on this. Go on.
Okay, I'll give you a more realistic one. Let's say her vagina, a small percentage of women have like an ultra tight vagina, and your monster fucking goblin schlong does not fit inside, right? Like you tried everything.
I was just saying it's perfect. My 2 centimeter penis.
It does not go in. There's no way you can get it in. You've tried it all. Lube doesn't matter. It's just like ultra tiny tight. Doesn't go in. What do you do?
Wait,
yes,
girls have babies out of their fucking vagina.
Yeah, it'll go in.
Is your dick larger than like 10 inches?
I know. I'm just trying to give him a hypothetical to see what he would do.
Okay. So like you can't have kids at that point, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well then you just annul the marriage if you can't have kids.
You just get her a toy and then she'll work her way up.
There you go.
Okay, how about this? She has like the grossest, most disgusting, like fucking scars all over her body that you did not see because you never saw her naked. It's like all
she
around.
Got attacked by a tiger on her back or something.
Yeah. It's just disgusting. Like you just.
I made a promise to her, and she can give me kids. I don't care.
That's right.
I'll get over that.
Good for you. What a good dude.
Damn,
good guy, Chronic.
So
also, scars turn me on.
If you've like waited for this woman for like a year and you love her and you want to spend the rest of your life with her, do you think like some ugly scars on her body are going to be enough to like move you off of it? And if so, what's wrong with you?
Well, no, I just want to make the example of like, what if it's like absolutely something that is like terrible that just ruins your libido? I'm not talking about a couple scars. I'm talking about like disgusting, like massive, crazy amounts of scars. I think the body odor one is better though. The smell, like the
pussy stink, dog.
Yeah, the smelly.
All these things are fixable. Like this is the issue, right? This is I'm gonna side with Undead Chronic now. Okay.
Thank you.
Let's go. We've done the full circle.
Well, I'm not even taking a position.
Let me answer the question though. Let's say there was a magical like portal to just New York City from her punyati, right? It just smelled like New York City garbage, and she can give me kids. Yeah, I'll smash with the clip over my nose. I'll make that work. Don't care.
But you're gonna like suffer for the rest of your life just for the.
Well, that's what love is. It's a sacrifice.
To some extent, there's people who stay married to their partners who are like vegetables or become like there's so many cases of people who had like crazy like the type of syphilis that like attacks your brain, your meninges, or like crazy meningitis that like just ruins their brain, and their partners just stay with them because like to some extent for a lot of people a commitment like actually means something. And I think like this is something I'd unironically agree with probably on Chronic on. It's something that's missing a lot in our society, and it's really sad. Like we're so obsessed with like self-gratification and hedonism and what I want right now. Like I want thing that we like lose like greater values and virtues that like make life meaningful, right? So it's like there would be cons, right? I imagine like, Nick and I have talked about this. If I become a vegetable, I've told him, I want you to take really good care of me and make sure I have maximal quality of life, but you should you should probably look at other options, right? We've communicated that. If Chronic has decided that's not something that will be on the table for him, I also think that's totally fine to make for a couple to decide. But like, I don't know. I think that there's something beautiful in like being willing to work with your partner through problems versus just being like, oh, I got to take her out for a test drive. It's like a lot of these problems can be overcome. Body odor can be fixed. There's a lot of medical causes for body odor. For pussy stinks, pineapple juice, very effective. Okay, there's tons of things. If she's got such vaginismus that you can't get it in, you can use vaginismus dilators and work on that problem, because probably she would want you to get it in too, right? So it's like so many of these problems that might arise by not fucking beforehand can oftentimes be resolved with like a long-term partner anyways.
Hey, Alex, why do they keep hospitals cold?
Not sure.
To keep the vegetables nice and fresh.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I know. Me personally, I would want to like find out all this shit beforehand before making like the biggest decision of my life. Like I would want to have all the facts, including all the sexual facts.
I think that's super fair too. I think like I wouldn't expect secular people particularly to like hold to any of this, because I don't think it makes a ton of sense.
Yeah. You know, people have their own values, and so like, you know, you bring it up again. A guy calls in, Chronic, I have this girlfriend, I dated her for 6 years and I love her, she loves me, same everything, but she had 2 dudes before me. I'm like, well, I don't know this woman. I don't know your relationship. If you think it's going to work, despite whatever warnings, whatever else you heard from anywhere else, you know, it's your life. Go for it.
Yo, Alex, this kind of reminds me of, you said something earlier on stream that if your girlfriend like gained 20 pounds and she didn't change it for like X amount of days, you would just like leave that bitch, right? Isn't that what you said?
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. If she gained weight, I would have a discussion with her about it. But if she just kept gaining weight and she like refused to, you know, like lose the weight, and she got to a point where she was fat, yeah, like that relationship would end at some point.
That's why I find it ironic, because like you actually believe in some shit like this that she was just kind of clowning on for like a scar or something that could be similar to like weight, you know?
Well,
it's totally changeable. If you have a partner and you say, this is what I'm really attracted to, and your partner says, no matter what you say, I will not change this for you. That to me, like the weight thing isn't really the issue. It's the partner refusing to do what it takes to like try to meet you in the middle and like accommodate like your sexual needs. I think looking attractive for your partner is super fucking important. And the idea that you can't tell your partner, hey, I'm attracted to this, I'm not attracted to this, feels like this like weird toxic shit that's like popped up. Probably because of lefty. I'll just own it. It's Progressive's fault for sure. It's our fault. But like, it says something about your partner if they're not even willing to like move on that. Whereas like scars are like, she can't do anything about it. They're just
not
like,
just scars. I just mean in general. Like it seems like something like a lot of people would try to work through for a while, and like, oh, it's not that important. But Alex is more like set on his boundaries, which I kind of respect. But it can be seen as like an asshole, you know.
Well, we discussed.
So wouldn't she like try to like go to the gym with her first? Like, hey, babe, let's go to the gym together. Let's make it a competition or something.
Sure. I would try to have a discussion with her about first and settle it without breaking up. But I'm saying if all else fails, like she just like refuses to budge on that, like she's like, now I'm gonna eat Cheetos, fuck you. Then like eventually I'd be like, okay, well I'm no longer sexually attracted to you, so this is not gonna work. Yeah.
Right. It's pretty brutal.
It is brutal, but I think that's just the truth. Like,
well, it's like a dude getting hammered every night. Like if you're getting hammered every night, it's a problem. It's a health problem. It's gonna affect the relationship. You're gonna probably get whiskey schlong, right? It's a valid, and then you refuse to stop drinking. I don't think anybody here would blame the woman for dumping him.
Yeah, like
eating.
Yeah, is Natty?
Yeah, but we would want to like. There's like you could go to AA, you could go to therapy. There are things you could try to make it work. Once you're in a committed relationship, it's important to.
You would try all that first. We're just saying if all else fails, but like I guarantee you that like if I start becoming obese, like Natty wouldn't break up with me right away. She'd have discussions with me about first. But if I'm just like fuck you, bitch, I'm gonna eat Cheetos, eventually she would walk away. Like,
can I just point out the irony of Brad in side chat fucking roasting fat women when he's like overweight himself?
I was thinking the same thing.
Come on, bro. Come on.
Let's
lose weight.
Let's let Brad defend himself since we're.
There's no excuses for that.
So first of all, I'm a little bit chubby, but I actually am losing weight. And second of all, it's not the same for men and women. So
It's actually significantly easier for men to lose weight than women. So I would say it's a more of a.
And I don't. I'm looking at the comments. I don't see I was roasting anybody.
You said, "How dare you leave a woman for being a fat pig?"
Well,
Oink oink.
Weight is the issue. My wife shouldn't need me to motivate her to look good for me. You can get on a treadmill. You're right. Those were just super decent statements.
I like those. Those are good.
I mean, when you put it that way.
You put it that way, bitch. What do you mean?
No, but I'm just saying that men and women should both be in shape. But if a man's a little bit chubby, it's not the worst thing in the world. It's not like being morbidly obese. You know, it's not the same.
Same for girls, right?
Same for girls, right?
I think women have a. I think women have a larger
surprised.
range. I think women have a larger range of acceptable weight.
Yeah.
Right. Like dudes are the chubby chicks. Like they whereas like guys, it's like once you get outside. I don't know. I think it's probably more defined for guys. Whereas women can afford to have extra weight. It's not that it's not the worst thing in the world, but that's completely different than being morbidly obese.
I mean, I don't know. What would you guys say? I'm right now. I just stepped on the scale this morning. I'm 6'2", 204 pounds, but I have been losing weight. So is that? I mean, is this like morbidly obese territory by any means?
No, you're not morbidly obese.
You're totally fine. The issue is here's the main thing I'm saying. We want to be careful about how much shade you throw at fat chicks while you yourself are overweight. It feels a little bit hypocritical. You can throw shade on other fat people.
It can be
hypocritical
a little bit. So what?
Well, because it's shitty and bad thinking. Like, why would you be like,
no. So give me a chance.
Women get on a treadmill, and it's like, Brad, get on a treadmill. I don't know what else to say.
No. Give me a chance to defend myself, please.
Go ahead.
So, first of all, I'm just trolling in the chat. Well, I'm being kind of serious, kind of trolling. Cool. The whole, what comments did I even make? Hold on, I gotta look at the comments again.
Brad, this is extra motivation to lose weight because once you lose weight, you can make fun of fat chicks.
Yeah, we can do it together.
No. So
probably shouldn't.
So
you know.
See, right now, only me and Butch Farrell can make fun of fat chicks. Even Kyla can make fun of fat chicks.
Exactly.
Whoa.
No. So I want to make a serious point.
You choose not to make fun of fat chicks, all right? And I'm not a big guy.
That's the only way that they can be motivated to improve. Otherwise, they'll just be called tens by their friends.
All right, let's let Brad respond. Go ahead.
No,
Brad.
so I want to make a serious point. So, every person is a child of God, so they deserve respect by default. Now, look, we can all joke around and talk shit a little bit, whatever. I'm not like, come on, you know. But what I'm saying is, do I think like fat women should we? I'm not saying like go disrespect them or anything like that. What I'm saying is the comment I was making is that if your wife is not already motivated to look good for you in a marriage, then there's a deeper problem. So like these suggestions of telling your wife, oh, let's make this like a competition or something, she should already be motivated to look good for you. Like, so there's deeper problems if she's not motivated to do that.
Not necessarily. Maybe she just had a death in the family. Maybe she just had like some kind of traumatic
event.
Well,
then that's up to you to be sympathetic as a husband for a period of time.
Right. No, but I'm just saying sometimes you do have to like motivate your partner. Like, you know, I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah, of course. But what I'm saying is what I'm saying though is that if you're a good man that cares about her feelings and you kind of have both sides to you, right? Like you can have the boundaries and be the masculine man that won't put up with her shit. But at the same time, you show her love and affection and caring and she loves you and respects you. She will be motivated to look good for you. Like this, you wouldn't have to tell her, oh, let's have a gym competition because I don't have time for that. Like I don't.
Sure. Can I give a little bit of perspective to the framing here?
Wait, what do you mean you don't have time for that?
Wait.
No, because what if our schedules don't align to go to the gym together, or what if I just don't? Bro, even when I do go to the gym, I just get in and out as fast as I can because it's like a waste of. It's not a waste of time, but
just
it's
stop buying Doy Swap for your family. It's not hard to lose weight.
Yeah.
Physically, it's not hard to lose weight.
Right. I mean, is my wife going to lose all motivation? No, I'm just saying, is my wife going to lose all motivation if I'm not like cheering her on every second at the gym?
Well, I think also like how you look will affect your wife's motivation. So if you're like, you know, this chiseled god like me, right? And you know, like you know, a girl looks at my body, you know, she's gonna be like, damn, like, you know, this guy's a fucking beefcake. I can't be.
You do have a pretty good physique.
I can't be out of shape, right? But like, if you're like a little bit of like a chubby wubby yourself, then the girl looks at you, she's like, oh, whatever, it's acceptable, right? So I think you can also
I just want to clarify too, like, we can all talk shit a little bit, joke around a little bit, but at the end of the day, you should respect people, but you should not like encourage unhealthy behavior.
Nobody.
Well, that kind of brings me to
any of these things.
I know, but I'm saying
that
I'm
brings me to
not,
the point I wanted
I'm
to make
not,
though, because like when we talk about like things you should be doing for your partner and like stuff, like I mean, I don't really agree with like fat shaming people to like make them lose weight, but like we're talking about like healthy lifestyle choices and stuff. Like the goal, like the argument that you're making, like she should want to be fit, like to look good for me. She should want to be in good shape, like to be healthy and like live a long life, like.
Yeah.
You should both want that, right? That should be really important to both of you, so you can both be around, like for your kids and for each other.
People are typically non-logical actors.
The reality in relationship is that like people are messy, and like most people don't actually take very good care of themselves, right? Most people
chicks are really messy.
Most people just don't take super good care of themselves. And so there's an element that's really beneficial in a partnership where both of you kind of take care of each other, sometimes better than they take care of themselves, which means sometimes your partner will say, hey, I'm sorry, like you're getting a little thick. It might be time that we start like looking at modifying our diet and stuff like that. And I think it's super healthy for a couple to look at compromising that and bringing it up. I think it's completely reasonable that sometimes you'll have to bring it up as the husband to her. And to be honest, the same should go the other way. I agree with you that you should try to be attractive for your partner, but especially in a newer relationship, what if this is the first time she's put on weight in the relationship? She doesn't really know what are the bounds of weight that you find attractive. So what if like she thought it was like 35% body fat, but it's more like 30%. Well, 30% might still be fat in her mind. So when you're asking for it, she doesn't really know what you're asking for, which is why you have this like negotiation. You talk a little bit about what you're attracted to. She talks a little bit about what she's attracted to. And you both, to some extent, strive towards that, right? There's no reason I'm going for booty gains nearly as hard, except for the fact that like Nick's an ass man. So I want to look good for him. And I want to have a nice thick bum for him because he's attracted to that. And it leads towards me being healthier as well. And I like being healthy.
Okay. Yeah. So what's the disagreement?
The disagreement is the framework that you're offering here, which is like you shouldn't have to motivate your partner. And it's like, well, sometimes you do, and that's okay.
No, but what I'm saying is, your partner, you will motivate your partner by being a good husband that she's attracted to, that she loves and she respects, not necessarily by saying, "Oh, let's go to the gym together and run beside each other."
Not always. Like some things are in people's blind spots. Like some women might not really realize that like you're no longer getting attracted to her until you like give voice to it. Like she might just be in a slump, focused on other things, gaining weight, and maybe she hates going to the gym because lots of people do. There's nothing wrong. It's not a show it like the idea that like she's disrespecting you, or she's not respecting you as her partner because she's like putting on weight and not trying to be attractive. It's like that's not necessarily true. Have you explicitly communicated to her the range of body weights that you're attracted to? Because if you haven't, there's no reason that she should necessarily know these things.
Yeah, I agree with Kyle.
You can tell though.
I motivate Natty by telling her that if she gains weight, she's going to look like an Oompa
Loompa. Speaking of fat chicks, Alex, you know the old myth of how Atlas holds the world up on his shoulders?
Yeah.
I disagree with that. I think Atlas is holding up the sidewalks in Houston because I've seen more water buffalo running down the sidewalks than the Serengeti.
He's talking about land whales.
Yeah, I figured that out. Looks for L. Thank you for explaining. Yeah. This kind of complex bro humor just went right over my head.
I'm sorry. I should have just stuck it with Atlas instead of bringing in migration.
I'm glad you could explain it for me. Looks.
You looked a bit lost.
No, but yeah, I agree with Kyle. I think that it's totally okay to like remind your partner or whatever. I think that's healthy. I think you should do that. Like, because people have like blind spots and they forget and shit. And then like,
of course.
I think what is unhealthy is expecting your partner to read your mind if you haven't communicated things. That's what's unhealthy.
I agree with that.
Of course, yeah. And I want to say something too, I think in the manosphere, like in the red pill, the manosphere, they do emphasize too much. Like, I understand why they do it, but it is too one-dimensional sometimes, where they emphasize, like, if you're the man, you must have boundaries and lay the hammer down. And they take, like, this hammer approach to everything. Like, you got to tell her, like, put her in her place. And that's only one side of the coin, but you also have to be loving and empathetic and care about her feelings and everything. But you just can't be a pussy. They don't respect that. But there is two sides of that,
But the
that I
issue
think
is
needs to be talked about more.
A man should have such quality of character that she just wants to respect you. If you're forcing your partner to respect you, that's not the deal. That means you're not respect worthy or you've picked the wrong partner. Because
that's when she calls the cops.
When I think about Nick, I love and respect that man more than anyone else on this planet. I feel sad at the idea of doing things that upset him. And some things I'm going to necessarily. However, I hope he tells me, and I hope I have the quality of character to work on it if it's something that's within my power. Absolutely. This idea of like strong arming your wife or your partner into like being submissive and respecting you, if you have to strong arm her, you never had respect and you never will. You only have fear. And that's not a good relationship.
Yeah.
I just think there's a place and time for everything, and you shouldn't always take the hammer approach, but you also shouldn't always take like the soft approach. You got to read the situation.
Well, no, you have to have an iron fist and a velvet glove.
The best approach is actually a willingness to walk away, and like that. Ultimately, if the girl sees that, like, if she violates your boundaries repeatedly, that you will walk away, then that will motivate her not to violate her boundaries, unless she's just a sociopath and she doesn't care.
Only if she desires you enough.
Well, if you do walk away, I feel like it's important to kind of communicate and be like, hey, this is a little overwhelming for me in this conversation right now. I'm going to walk away and de-escalate and think about it, but I promise I'm going to come back and we'll talk about it. So you kind of validate the feeling.
I think Alex means leave the relationship.
I'm talking about, we're talking about different things. I'm talking about like leaving the relationship. I mean, obviously as a last resort, not like, if your girl does something.
Oh, just walk away from the relationship completely?
Right, but I think you should be willing to, if enough boundaries are crossed, to walk away. Like that should be like you should value yourself first, and your partner comes second.
Mm-hmm.
It's like he's really high on the list, but you are still first.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think as a man, your wife should be like of your priority.
It's hard to know when to walk away.
Yeah, sure, I agree with that.
Yeah, I'm curious what Alex thinks of this. I feel like, and anybody else too, I feel like as a man, your wife should be in like the top 10 of your priorities, but probably not like top 3.
No, I think she should be number 2. You're number 1, and she's number. Well, if you have kids, the kids are below you. But yeah, if you have kids and the kids are first, then you. But if you don't have kids, you're first. She's second. Yeah.
You just say family number 1. You cover all the bases.
Sorry, what?
You just say family comes first, and then you cover all the bases, and that includes yourself.
Yeah, well, if you have like kids, I think the kids would come first, and then you, and then their wife. But if you don't have kids, I think it would just be you. I mean, I don't know. So for me, like, I guess like probably like I would put myself first, but like my parents would be like, like probably second and third, or both tied for second. Then my girlfriend would be number 3, or I guess like. Yeah, my dog would be like up there too. I don't know.
Your dog's up there, really? With the fucking humans.
Yeah, dude, I fucking love my dog. He's the perfect creature.
Yeah, like Alex, have you ever heard of a comfort test?
No.
So one of my buddies who lives in Vegas, he was telling me about this, and so we all know what a shit test is, obviously. So let's say in a relationship you get a shit test. It's like she's either consciously or subconsciously wants to know, is this guy like actually a man that can stand up to me and like call me on my bullshit? But a comfort test is where she'll test you because she wants to see, okay, does this guy actually care about me as a person? Does he care about my feelings? So it's like in a shit test, you would want to tell her, hey, this is unacceptable behavior. I will not stand for this. Don't do this again. But a comfort test, you would want to take like a more soft, tender approach and be like, hey, is everything okay? Like, I love you more than anything. Like, let's talk about this, whatever, right? But I mean, it's important to have both as a man. Everywhere on the internet, people only focus on one. It's like two opposite extremes of the spectrum. It's either like you got to keep that bitch in her place all the time, or it's like, you're just like crying all the time, like it's Oprah.
Yeah, there's a lot of extremes on the internet. I will say this, like with my previous relationship. So I'm not talking about Natty. I'm talking about the girl whose name I won't mention because she's private. But we were dating, and she did something that I really, really didn't like. It wasn't cheating or anything, but it would take a while to explain. But this one thing that she did that I really didn't like, and I explicitly told her, "Hey, listen, I love you, but if you do that again, I'm not going to keep seeing you. Like that's your one and only warning." And she did it again like a month later, and I broke up with her. And she was like flabbergasted. She was like, "I can't believe you actually broke up with me." I was like, "Well, I told you explicitly that if you did that, I would break up with you." Like, what part of me wasn't clear? She was like in shock almost. Like she couldn't believe it. But I was like, "I'm sorry, but like I made my boundary very clear." So yeah, I think it's important to have like strong boundaries like that.
I'm gonna head out.
Erudite, can I say something to you before you leave?
Sure, absolutely.
So I don't agree with everything you say. I don't agree with everything anybody says, obviously. But I do think you're very genuine in this space, and I do appreciate it. And I saw your panel. I was skimming through it. You did a panel recently where it's like you, another woman, and two men talking about dating. And one of the men, you said he had survivor bias. I think it's like a week ago. And no offense to that guy. He's probably a great guy. Probably just not aware of the situation. But
he is a nice guy. But he's got survivor bias.
I really appreciated your understanding and empathy and compassion towards men in our current society, because when people say stuff like, dating's not that hard, just got to be nice and take a shower, it's extremely just clueless. So
I am living proof of the fact that you don't actually need to take a shower.
Yeah.
How often do you shower?
Take a shower, you dirty animal.
That was a joke.
I appreciate you, Brad. I'll lean into the Phoebes. I won't be toxically masculine, okay? I really appreciate that. I think that's kind of you to say, especially because you and I have had a number of tensions and been head to head on a number of things. Although we've also joked together as well, so we have a bit of a better rapport.
Yeah.
So I super appreciate that. That's very
well, we just have different different worldviews, but that's okay. I mean, we agree on a lot, but disagree on some things.
That's true.
NotsoErudite, what you're not a relationship coach. What do you specifically focus on?
I just do content creation. So I talk a lot about the manosphere. So when leftists bring me on, I defend incels and manosphere and outline to them that men aren't just evil, maniacal bastards who want to rape women. And when I talk to manosphere guys, I try to tell you guys that women aren't just all these selfish, vain gold diggers who want to rake you for your money and fuck you over, but that there's actually lots of really nice, wonderful women out there. You just got to know how to find them and how to.
True, they exist. I met them.
They exist and they're very sweet. So I don't do anything I don't offer coaching. I don't offer anything like that. If you're wondering, I'm wondering if the site Chronic found. My husband is a personal trainer and he offers training coaching. So it's called Not So Fit. It's called Not So Fit.
Oh, well, no, I'm a coach myself, so I was just asking about you.
Yeah, I don't coach. Yeah,
I'll send it to you.
Okay. Cool. Do you know how to? I'm sure if you message Alex, he can give you.
Yeah, I'll put you guys.
I'll just put it in the chat right now.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean it's similar.
Yeah, that's my website, but there's no.
The fitness directs. Okay, that's your husband's website.
Yeah, and he does actual.
Okay, that's my bad. I didn't assume that it took you to your husband's website. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Can we get him to supply the site?
He did. No, he did. It's the right.
Yeah, it's similar to how we all love Joe Rogan and he's a nice guy, but when he was talking about the incel problem one time, I mean, he's married, he's a millionaire, he's out of touch, and he was talking about it, and he's like, "Oh,
see you get out of here. Go spend time with your husband."
Bye.
All right, bye, Kyle.
Rogan was like, "Oh, they just need to learn to be men."
How did her husband tell me that he didn't think I dated church girls? You got a fitness website. I'm like, I don't think you lift bicep curls, bro. What the fuck, man? That just came to my head. I'm like, wait. Anyhow, I guess he's fit for a Canadian.
Nah, that dude is pretty fit for a natural. He doesn't take steroids.
For a Canadian, yeah. I don't know. I guess again, it's different values, right? I'm about bodybuilding, powerlifting, not doing 20 crunches and then jumping jacks or whatever bullshit.
I wouldn't know. You don't show your face, so I have no idea.
No, good. Yes. Hope to God you'll never know, because I am an ugly motherfucker.
Speaking of ugly, Alex, looks. I didn't mean to say Alex, you're ugly. I was saying you, Alex.
Speaking of ugly, Alex. Oh, damn.
Speaking of ugly motherfuckers, let me talk to my man Alex. What does it be?
No, I was gonna say, looks for L. He talks about looks, right? But is that all? Like, what is his thoughts when it comes to getting girls? What does he say normally?
He says that looks are really by far the most important and the only thing that matters. Maybe game matters a tiny amount, but it really comes down to looks. Looks will determine how successful you are with women. It's just
I disagree with him.
Yeah, I know. Me too. I've debated.
And I can give him that example. As I say, and I've said this before, you've got a person that looks like The Rock. He's not The Rock, but he looks like him, big, all that other stuff. And then you got Kevin Hart. Most girls will pick Kevin Hart. He's obviously not better looking than the guy that looks like The Rock, but he has status. So
yeah, I can steel man all his arguments. So he will say that example doesn't count because Kevin Hart is really, really famous. So he said, if you're really famous, then you can bend the rules of looks.
I mean, you can have all the rules bent all you want to, but that's facts, and this is what it's about. Like, looks does not. And here's another thing about, like, if you could be good looking, there are advantages to that. A lot of girls' walls will come down and they're a little bit more comfortable. However, if you don't know what to say, then you're not going to be able to get the girl. Period.
I mean, I agree with you, but yeah, he's not gonna. His argument is gonna be
or
that,
if like a weird voice or something.
Right, like, honey, my name is Roger.
Voice. He would say that voice is part of like looks. But okay, oh, there he is. Okay, yeah, I don't have to keep like steel manning his positions.
Yeah, I would like to get his theory.
Okay,
Yeah,
let me bounce out of here while you guys talk about this. Thanks for the invite, Alex.
Just remember, he is talking to the champion, so better be respectful when you're talking.
Yo, Undead, good chatting with you for a bit.
Hey, peace, guys.
Peace. Dude, Undead's a cool motherfucker, low key. I feel like I would get along with him IRL.
He's a very interesting character. Yeah, he's pretty amusing. I mean, didn't leave the best impression when he did that raid on my channel, but he's a funny dude. He's also clearly pretty intelligent, so I enjoyed it.
I didn't know about any raid or anything, but anyway, B-Mac, what were you saying?
I'm trying to understand your theory on where they're saying that looks is the only thing that matters. I would like you to discuss a little bit more about that.
It's not 100%. The point is, it's not even a theory either. If you hop on dating apps, you can see it for yourself, my brother. There's no theory. If you're a normie, like, you're gonna be struggling, let alone like a sub-5 versus like some tall, handsome, muscular, or like lean man. Like, it's not even close. You guys live in different universes.
So what do you consider ugly? Because I think what you may consider ugly, females may not.
I mean, I disagree with you. Beauty is pretty objective, like, when you get down to it.
It's not really objective. Like I said, like
certain indicators, like having a strong forward-grown jaw, having a symmetrical face, a good eye area, hair on your head. There's a lot of objective.
So do you disagree that status is not an attraction for women?
No, he would agree with that.
No, I agree, but it's like, how many of these men can achieve that level of status? Like,
how many of these men can become giga cats?
Well, there's a lot you can do to look smacks for more tangible results.
What I'm trying to say,
millionaire.
Basically, I mean, I understand what you're saying with looks, but it's better for someone to know what to say than to have looks. Because if you only have looks and you don't know what to say, then you're not going to get the girl. But if you're not the best looking and you know what to say, it's a chance that you can get the girl.
Well, I disagree with the second part, but I agree with the first part, where it's like, you need to have social skills to the point to where you're not autistic, just like a normal convo, maybe a little bit of flirting and banter. Like, a monkey could do it, it's not that hard.
No, I disagree that it's just like a matter of not being autistic. I was never autistic at any point in my life, but for some reason, every single girl I talked to when I was like 17, 18, 19 wanted to have like nothing to do with me sexually. I had a ton of female friends, but none of them were sleeping with me. So I think it's not just as simple as like not being autistic. I think that's a gross oversimplification. You need to have some charm. You need to be able to seduce girls. You need to be able to build sexual tension. You need to be able to lead and escalate.
Yeah, but you're making it sound like it's such a crazy thing. Like, it's really not that hard, bro.
It is for a lot of guys.
For a lot of guys, it is, dude. For me, it took me years.
Okay.
There's a lot of guys that can't do that. And there's a lot of guys that know how to get girls and they're not that good looking. It's because, and I say the reason is because most guys that aren't that good looking, they've been dissed so many times. And they've, well, let me just say, if they're confident enough within being rejected, they know how to deal with that because they've been rejected so many times. And after so many times you've missed that swing, you eventually learn how to hit it the right way, and eventually you start hitting it. So the more, hold on, let me finish. The more experience that you have in the game, whether you're good looking or not, you're gonna eventually learn it, and you'll be able to attract women. And that's just how it is.
I don't think failing over and over again makes you somehow succeed in the end because you gain more rejections. That's probably like the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
That's because your mindset only knows a certain way. I know this from experience, and I know that like you can either take it two ways. You could take it to the butt and say, "Oh, she rejected me. I don't want to do that no more," or you can say, "Hey, I've, like after, let's say you go and make an approach, right? And you go to talk to a girl and you say the same thing to her and you got rejected 3 times, right? So then let's say, okay, I'm going to say something else on this time. And then bam, you got the girl's number or you got something else. So it's like that rejection made it better for you.
Yeah, I kind of agree with BMAC under one condition is that you interpret that rejection the correct way and you learn from it instead of becoming bitter, because it can go in the other direction if you just become bitter from the rejection. But if you learn from your mistakes, then yeah, like I would say, like with me, I used to like make this mistake of like I would go on dates and I would just like never make a move for like hours and then eventually would leave, and like obviously nothing would happen. And I did that over and over again, and then one day I tried like making a move and it worked and I had sex, right? And then now, so if I'm on a date, I have all that pain in the back of my mind. Like I know what's going to happen if I just don't do anything, nothing, right? I don't want that experience again. So clearly I'm making a move.
The Leonardo DiCaprios, the Denzel Washingtons, the Will Smiths of the world, they've all been rejected and they're the best at what they do. In order for you to become the best at what you do, you have to be rejected because you have to, rejection helps you. It lets you know about yourself.
If we're speaking more generally, you have to fail.
Yes. To get better, you have to fail.
Not in this scenario. Like this is why I think it's strange, because you guys talk about mistakes and whatnot. Like the mistake is your face or your height, and simply by like deluding yourself into thinking that, oh, if I just would have spoken to her better, she might be interested. It's just such a strange mentality. It's an easier reality to accept.
All right, look, do you think I was like a Giga Chad when I was 18 years old?
I have no idea what you look like, but you probably have hair on your head.
So what do you think? I had more hair and less muscle.
Again, like we have to take your word at face value. We also have to look at the quality of the woman you're banging. It's like it really depends,
So look for you get.
When I was 18, I was banging nobody, right? No woman, not even the fat chicks would fuck me, right? Like that 300-pound girl, she'd be like, no, thank you, right? So I wasn't banging anybody, right?
Girls will do that today too. I mean, not too much has changed. Like,
no, a lot has changed. Like I have had sex with hundreds of girls versus back then I didn't have sex with anybody. So there's a massive change.
Right, but fat girls will still reject you now because they're so entitled.
Yeah, there will be some fat chicks that will reject me. But the point is
fat girls will reject you.
Yeah, there are some.
The point is, I'm sure there are some fat girls out there that will reject me. Sure, I'm not denying that. Not that I really hit on them, but I'm sure if I did an experiment, I hit on every fat girl, there would be some that would reject me. But like going back to the point I'm trying to make, you're kind of like deterring the conversation. When I was 18, I probably had a very similar sexual market value to what I had now. Again, I didn't have any tattoos, I didn't really have any muscle, but I had more hair. So I'll probably say I'm either slightly better now or I'm equal to what I was. Yeah, for some reason, when I was a freshman in college, going out to every single party 5 days a week, I was getting nothing. Versus now, if I go out like, even once in a while, I can usually pull a chick and hook up with her. So what has changed during that period? It can't be my looks. I haven't become a Giga Chad or something like that. So what else could it be?
Well, I've told you about this. Like you've said, like for cold approach, I can't say for certain because I haven't seen it. However, one thing I have seen is your online presence, which is photos that have been face-apped quite into oblivion, my friend. And I mention this because it's like these girls are assuming that you're this higher Chad figure, but in reality, you're not quite there.
All right, just take my word for it that I pulled like at least 50 to 100 girls from cold approach.
Yeah, I mean, especially when there's drinking involved, it's kind of more of like a hack. I feel like it's a lot easier.
I pull
So
girls.
many excuses.
Yeah, I
No,
pull
this
girls.
isn't an excuse.
I
Whenever the
pull
alcohol is
girls
involved,
from daytime. I pull girls from just walking around during the day where everyone's sober. I've
Hmm.
done that. Like,
I mean, I'm
at
sure
least
you've
several
done it.
dozen times.
Yeah, I'm sure you've done it, but it's like pretty rare compared to like Tinder or like a nightlife scenario.
So
No, like
you're more of the
the point
social
is that
dating.
the point was when I was 18, I used to walk around more than I do now, and I got significantly less results. So now I put in a small fraction of the work I used to put in, but I get way better results.
Would have to compare what you looked like then and now. Like I would really have to see the differences.
Jenny, what do you think about this?
Mhm.
Yeah, wait, Jenny, you saw me in high school. Yeah.
Yes.
How did I look in high school compared to how I look now? Just be brutally honest.
You were very skinny.
Would you say I'm better looking now or is better looking in high school?
She said neither.
No, I think you're better looking now.
Okay.
Yeah, that probably makes sense then.
Actually, I never really thought you were ugly in high school though either. Like I never.
Yeah,
was
but he's
like,
just invisible, right? He's just like one of those normies that you walk by but like don't look at, you know? So
But it's more because he was so quiet. Like there were
Yeah.
times that like I was like we were hanging out. I don't even know if you remember this, Alex. Like I would be like we'd be in the same circle hanging out and you didn't even talk to me.
Yeah, I was like super like socially awkward and shy around girls. I would just like clam up. I wouldn't say a word until they left.
Yeah.
Yeah, so listen, Alex, I think social skills do have their part, but in order to like flex your social skills or however you want to call it, like you have to be the prize yourself. Just like in sales, right? You can't sell a shit product. You have to be a good fucking product, which is like being an attractive male. If you're a shit product, no one's gonna want you with no amount of sales pitch.
I will challenge you on that though. I'll challenge you on that. Cold approach, yes, it works. It's a numbers game. And the more you do it, sure, you're going to get better at it. But at the same time, if you're going to come approach me and be boring, don't waste my time. It doesn't even have to do with looks necessarily.
Yeah, but
it has to do with like the impression you leave.
Right. You say that, but then some like good-looking guy will come up to you and not even say that much, and you'll give him your time of day, just because of how he looks.
Right.
Like,
I mean, like maybe that'll work at first, but if the chat stops there, if there's no good chat after like that first interaction, maybe you can fool the girl into getting her into bed after that first time at like one night stand just because you're good looking. But it's not going to be like a continuous thing if you don't have good chat and good rapport and like an actual reason to keep talking. You know what I mean? If there's no reason to keep talking, if all it was you're hot, we had sex, I'm not interested.
Yeah, look, you're not engaging in my argument at all. Like once again, so if we just take what Jenny says at face value, that I was okay. Let's just say instead
you literally said you're better looking now. You heard it from her own mouth, my friend.
Right. I am better looking now. Okay, fine. Yeah, I'm. Well, would you say I'm significantly better looking now, or would you say it's like somewhat, like within the same range, or would you say I'm like a lot better looking now?
Just looks.
Yeah, just purely looks.
Just purely looks. Yeah, you're like probably like 2 points higher.
Damn, that's pretty substantial, Alex. Just want to say.
Listen, that's interesting. Huh? 2 points.
Gain more weight, I guess.
Yeah, I give you 2 points.
Put on the muscle.
I give you 2 points.
I put on. But okay, even assuming that's true, and I put on 2 points, I still think that would not make the difference between 0 results and like hundreds.
Bro, what? 4 to 6 is literally that. That could be it right there. 3 to 5, 4 to 6. That's between invisible and like actually visible.
Okay, here's what I will reference. There was a period in my life when I was 27, 28 when I got Lyme and I lost all my fucking weight. If you can see this if you watch my like earlier YouTube videos.
You told me about it.
Yeah. I used to weigh like 135. I used to look like a concentration camp survivor. Basically, I looked that skinny and like I didn't really take care of my all messy. You can see that during that time I was still able to get laid versus when I was like 18, I could not get laid for the life of me.
Yeah, I mean, I think again, I don't know what your social skill level was before, but I do think it helped you. However, like noticing your trends and like how you edit your photos online. Like you truly do understand the importance of looks, because if they were truly only 50%, then you wouldn't be editing it with a fucking app on your phone.
No, I think it's about 50%. But yeah, I think that looks are obviously important. I've like been extremely like clear and public about that. But I think it's like not
right.
like.
But when you denounce it to 50%, but then you're literally going out of your way to use an app to enhance your appearance by like 1 to 2 points easily. That's where I'm like, bro, come on, you are so.
So you're saying it's crazy to spend, I don't know, maybe like 2 minutes to do something that will increase.
It's not about the time. It's about the fact that
I'm going to justify the apps though, because you're just even the playing field at that point when everybody else is using those same apps.
I mean, two wrongs don't make a right, and it's socially acceptable for women to wear makeup and whatnot.
Christ. This moral grandstanding like never made sense to me. It's like, okay, dude, you can morally grandstand all you want, but the fact of the matter is that everyone's doing it, and you might as well play.
Not everyone is doing it. Like you're one of the few people I know who edits their like photos in their face. Besides women,
if multiple people are saying certain things about how it does work, and it's not just looks. You have a rule against that. It's like looks for L's world, and if it's not within the scope of how you see it, then it's not reality. When everyone else is saying this is reality, and you don't have to. I mean, looks does help, but if you don't have any social skills, or if you don't know what to do, imagine if a girl thinks this guy is hot, but he's a virgin, right? And he doesn't necessarily understand flirtatiousness because he's never did that. You think she would be interested in him?
Well, the reality is, if you're a hot guy, it's likely that you're not a virgin. Also, I don't like how these guys talk about
not reality.
What?
I mean, a guy could be good looking and he just may be good. I mean, just because someone's good looking don't mean that they have social skills, that they know how to do a lot of. I mean, there's a lot of hot girls that they don't make any sense when they talk. You don't have control over what you look like.
Yeah, there's some dumb guys out there too. Dumb and good looking.
Exactly.
Right? Plenty of it.
Plenty of them.
Yeah, like I don't like how people assume that just because someone's good looking that they completely lack social skills and they're like, terrible. Like most people have a decent element of social skills, like being able to talk with someone. So I think it can help you if you don't know what to do in certain scenarios, whatever. But in general, like you're not even going to get to that level unless you pass the looks threshold. That's why I argue it. It's not in terms of like what percent is looks, what percent is social skills. It's like, okay, did I pass the looks threshold? Okay, now my social skills will come into play.
Let me just respond. The reason why I disagree with that is because nowadays people try to hide from technically being social, talking to someone in front of a computer, and they try to communicate there. So if everyone was just so good at conversating with people socially in person, then how come we always hide? Most people hide behind a computer, and when you see them in person, it's a completely different story. That's why I say it doesn't matter. I don't believe in anything besides in person. It's the most organic, the most real way to do things. And a lot of guys are scared to talk to the opposite sex if she's attractive.
Well, there's a lot of reasons. There's a lot of reasons for this, because like you could get afraid of being exposed. I mean, there's like videos on TikTok of girls at gyms like clowning guys for approaching them, even on the street. Like you have to think about risk mitigation, right? Like, do you want to be one of these?
No, you ain't got to think about none of that stuff. I don't know what world he's in.
This is like the cringiest part of the black pill. It's like overblowing these risks, which are like so negligent.
Oh man, if you can get them, you can get them. It is what it is.
Because she's gonna like expose you for talking to her. Who gives a fuck?
I mean, a lot of people give a fuck, bro. You don't want your reputation ruined.
Oh my god, some girl makes a video.
People don't care that much.
How are you ever gonna
talk to a girl?
Dude,
yeah, but
people might think about you for 5 minutes, and they're thinking about what they're gonna do for dinner later, and then they're thinking about what they have to do.
If you guys don't mind
tomorrow,
they're not to like millions of people on TikTok or whatever, then that's on you. But like some people don't want that. Especially if it's negatively framed. Like, she'll frame you as a creep. She'll be like, "Oh, this guy's so creepy. He was staring at me. He was looking at my body."
But see, if you have experience with women, she wouldn't say that.
First of all, that doesn't happen often. That's very rare that happens. That's never happened to me. That's never happened to anyone I know. So like those like girls who do that, that's like very rare. That's the first thing. So statistically, it's not likely to happen. And second of all, who cares? Fuck? Like, dude, if you care about that, then like, I don't know. Maybe you should just stay inside your mom's basement. Like, I don't know what else to tell you.
Dude, a lot of guys are afraid of being like exposed or seen as harassing.
A lot of guys are afraid of that because you black pillers, you overblow the risk. You guys make you guys make it out to be like literally after, like, if you approach a girl who doesn't give you IOIs, then you're probably gonna catch a case. That's literally the amount of black pill. That's what like Scrab and MD was basically saying. Like, bro, you can't be approaching girls who didn't give you indicators of interest. Like, that's how you wind up in jail. Like, really, man?
No, that's like a joke.
You know what, Alex? I have a person that said that to me because, you know, I was trying to recruit some more students, and he said the same thing. Oh, you're probably gonna go to prison if you say something to her. And he's like, ha 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 ha. That, you know, that fake laugh. Ha ha. It's all delayed. Like, you sound like an idiot.
But Alex, that's why I actually don't mind doing the challenge, because I know women respond to men differently. It's not that they don't want to be approached; they just don't want to be approached by the wrong guy. As long as you're the right guy, they actually want to be approached.
Yeah, if you're like chill, like regardless of your looks, if you're like chill, girls are 99.9% of girls aren't going to give you shit. Typically, from what I've seen, when girls give guys shits, it's when the guy was like coming on like way too strong.
Or she's just repulsed by him.
If you're over eager or like stuttering, then I'm just like, don't waste my time. But I'll be pretty compliant to anyone who like approaches me in like a friendly way.
Right, you'll friend zone them. You'll tell them like, yeah, you're nice, but you're fucking ugly, so like we can be friends. No, bro, here's the thing.
How's that like? Okay, but
okay.
She's laughing because she knows it's true. She's probably done this.
Okay.
She's like, oh, I wish I want to find a guy just like you. And he's like, wait, I'm right here. But then she's like, wait, no, you, but attractive. Sorry.
Yeah, but every girl has friend zoned guys in the past. Like, and I've seen examples of good looking guys who've been friend zoned too.
Come on, man. Yeah. It's like so rare compared to like the amount of normies and sub fives who are constantly friend zoned. I mean,
well, that's just because good looking guys in general are rare, because beauty in general is rare by default.
Right. That's part of it. Yeah.
So let's how many? I mean, what would you say your percentage rate of being successful with getting girls that you talk to?
Well, most of my cold approaches, I have gotten IOIs, so it's very, very, very high success rate because I don't like to take L's, right? So I'll make sure that she's interested with like indicators of interest, and then it's easy from there, you know? Once you've determined their sexual attraction, like it's like a piece of cake, honestly.
So then obviously you know what to say.
Well, yeah, once you know that she's interested, what you say practically doesn't even matter, bro. Like, because she likes how you look. I don't think you understand. Like,
no, I understand very well.
So you're a good-looking guy, right? Is that you're like a good-looking guy, objectively? So do you feel like what?
I said I've been on stream before here. Like,
he's like a chat light, okay?
Yeah.
He's not a full-on chat.
I've never seen your face, so I don't know.
Yeah, you could. Anyways, go on. What's your point?
Anyway, okay. So I was gonna say, so as a good-looking guy, you have a sense of confidence in your looks. Would you say, to the point where when you look in the mirror, you feel confident? You might even give yourself like a, "Hey, looking good," right? You like kind of psych yourself up. Is that something that comes natural to you?
Yeah.
Those kind of like. Okay. So my point is, for those guys out there who have like approach anxiety, you've heard it out of this Chad's mouth himself. He feels very comfortable looking at himself in the mirror, talking himself up, being very confident. So just kind of,
but I'm confident due to how I look, not because I'm telling myself that statement. Like, it always comes back to like tangible things you can look at. Like, if I was 5'4",
but I believe even if a guy isn't confident with his looks, he can get there by looking in the mirror and start saying some positive affirmations, being like, "You're the guy, you know, love yourself." I don't want to be too vulgar, so I could say some things, but I don't want to get too vulgar. You can probably say, think about it yourself. Like,
hop on your cock.
Be like that pussy slayer or whatever. Like, you're the man. Like, just talk yourself in the mirror. Like, even like get comfortable like looking at yourself like even naked in the mirror, and just like talk yourself up to the point where you start feeling really good about who you are down to the core, and adjust like your personality to the point when you do cold approach a girl, you already have that like vibe, that confidence with who you are. So
positive affirmations
feel good.
can only get, positive affirmations can only get you so far, but I see what you're trying to say. What you can do is like sit down and really visualize yourself being successful with girls and just try to program yourself in the image that way. That'll probably be like more effective.
The main issue I have with what you're saying, Jenny, is like you feel this type of way all you want, but the reality is you can't force the attraction. Like she'll either like what you look like or she won't. Like
but the reality is also that there's some unattractive guys out there who are doing pretty good with girls, who are getting laid over and over.
Yeah.
I
know a bunch of guys who you would probably think are like 2s who have 8s and 9s that they're with.
I don't know if Looks for L really gets girls like that. The reason why I say that is because it seems like you're afraid of rejection so much to where you don't want to do certain things, or you really want to make sure that she is into you because you don't want to have that rejection. Where the type of guy like me, if I see her and I'm feeling her, I'm gonna just go ahead and say something to her, and I know what to say strategically. So it's just like it don't matter like in this competition if we ever have it, Alex. But basically, what I'm trying to say is we can say. Point to any girl. It does not matter what the situation is. I will create a situation to happen versus
that's what we're gonna
being too technical and all these rules and she can't have this and she can't. That shows to me that you're not really as good as you say you are.
I mean, listen, brother. Like you can try and convince yourself you can force attraction, but at the end of the day, like women
convince myself. So. I mean, that's why I'm sure you're gonna. I don't know if you're gonna be there the same time that we have the competition, but you will see everything that I'm saying is legit. Everyone that knows me and my students, they already know and they've seen everything that I'm saying is exactly what I'm saying and what I'll do. So you'll see that for yourself, and you won't say that nothing to me after you see it.
I mean, let's let the time tell, right?
Well, we will. So are you going to be Alex, or is he going to be there in February?
No, I think we're shooting with him for March.
Yeah, we're going to March.
Oh, you're not even going to be there. Well, maybe you'll.
I'll tell you right now. If BMAC approached me, I would chat you up.
I mean, listen, like we're on a panel. There's so much virtue signal going on. We can't honestly like take this as it is, right? Like, come on, let's be real. We're gonna wait until we take it out into the field, right, and see what this BMAC kid can do. You know?
I can't wait to see it.
I'm a grown man that's about to teach some lessons, and then once I teach those lessons, everyone, you'll see that I'm legit.
BMAC, I was gonna ask BMAC how tall you are, real quick.
5'8".
Damn. Okay. What'd you say, Brad?
Do you want to ask him how big his cock is, or you're good?
No. I just wanted to see if he's vertically challenged. All right, go on, Brad.
Hold on.
You say
he said vertically challenged. So when I said I'm 5'8", what did you think? You thought that's nothing. Is that what came into your mind?
Yeah, you're tiny. You're
tiny.
So small. You're like a little kid.
I was gonna ask you how tall you were.
Let's just want to put you on his lap and like kind of rock you to bed.
Let me sing you a fucking bedtime
all right,
story.
Look, Pharrell, you don't want to believe me. You don't want to talk crazy to me, bro.
Oh my god, this guy's.
I'm trying to tell you, man.
Wait, can we
not know me, bro?
Right now, I'm more interested in now seeing BMAC versus Looks Pharrell, honestly.
Looks Pharrell, he's not even on my level. He's not even close to being on my level. He does. I'm telling you, let him go against the other gentleman. He does not. He's on another level if he wants to come over here. I'm just keeping it 100.
Oh my god, I'm fucking weak.
You don't even want to come against me, bro. You know you don't want to.
I think you guys are pretty head to head. You guys have different strengths and different not strengths.
Right. You'd be a good gymnast, but in the eyes of women, you're a toddler. So we have.
You said he'd be a good gymnast.
Wait, Looks Pharrell, you have another advantage. BMAC isn't like.
Says the man that doesn't even show his face.
I've shown my face before. If you do your research, my friend, you can see for yourself.
You probably like I ain't gonna say that because that's politically incorrect to say that. So.
Well, you can see for yourself. Plus, I'll be in Miami in March, so.
You sound like you're a nerd. I don't know what you look like, but you seem like you're a nerd. And
I am a nerd, but I'm also Chad Light.
Are you a nerd?
I'm also Chad Light.
Well, to be fair, I'm also a nerd.
Me too.
I'm a
massive. I have a question. I have a question for Looks For Real. So Looks For Real, you said that you can't force attraction, but do you think that you can walk up to a woman and generate attraction by what you say and what you do?
No, that's the whole point. Like, unless you had met her like looks level, I don't think you can go from her being repulsed by you to her like admiring you. No, like that's not how it works.
That's exactly how it works.
I mean, also, I wouldn't even want that. I wouldn't want a woman to not physically desire me. What kind of life is that worth living? I would want her to. Like,
it's not like physically. It's not like not physically desiring you. It's like, okay, this guy, doesn't meet my threshold, but he's able to trigger emotions. He's able to make me laugh. What
do you mean not? She doesn't want your genetics, homie. How is that not a cope?
Bullshit. This is a scope where you guys. It's literally based on you guys. It's cope because you cannot do it, but it's not cope when you can actually do it.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, like you can just be like, oh, okay. I mean, okay. Look at me, sub 4, sub 3. How many girls have I banged?
Look, you don't have to try to justify yourself to me. Listen,
this is bullshit.
It's a sad reality. It's a sad reality that you have to try to manipulate women into liking you, even though they don't like your genetics.
I really don't have to manipulate. I really don't have to manipulate.
I find it's
super easy. It's super easy because I carry myself that way. And you can just say cope or whatever, poop, whatever. Fucking, this is stupid black bill shit.
It's like
I just banged a girl today. Like literally banged a girl today. I didn't have to cope. I didn't have to come up with. I didn't have to manipulate her. I just like.
Listen, NDP, all I gotta say is the quality that I've seen of the girls.
You've literally seen one girl. You literally seen one girl. You haven't even seen any of the quality I've banged.
But I wouldn't be happy.
I can even show you a picture of the girl I banged today. But you will still be like, oh, haha, he's coping.
Look at what you
which is like the.
He's like, wait, bro, it was only one ugly girl, bro. I promise, bro.
Yeah, I'll show you all the pictures. Like,
come on, everybody's banged one ugly girl.
Yeah, but we don't make YouTube videos of it and broadcast it to fucking millions of people.
Right. So you just take one example. Like if I was really embarrassed about that, we would have taken that video down months ago or years ago. It's been 1.5 years, but we never took out that video.
Yeah,
we are not embarrassed about that shit. Yeah, like
You're trying to make a joke out of something that makes you look like not good at all. I don't know.
I'm not making a joke about it, bro. Like
no, Alex is like
because it's such a ridiculous argument because it is one girl and like we've shown like so many NDMP receipts with hotter girls and everyone just like ignores those and just focuses on the one bad receipt. And I feel like it's just like a really disgenuine.
To be honest,
again, looks for we can show it again, like literally again.
It's like every time like someone wants to come at NDMP, they always reference that one video.
Well, I don't even want to come at him. He just joined and started talking to me, so that's why I like.
Of course, I'm gonna.
It's just like an argument I've heard like so many times. And I feel like it's like a really silly argument. Like if you can show a pattern of him hooking up with ugly girls, then you would have a point. But if there's one girl that wasn't attractive, like so fucking what? That doesn't negate like all the other girls who were attractive.
And beauty is on the inside, right, Alex? You know, personality is what matters. So who cares about this silly look stuff?
So Alex, when are we gonna have this competition?
We're gonna do it in February. Sorry, I'll try to do the plane tickets tonight.
I did say that I gotta get housing, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna get it tomorrow, and it was like 3 weeks later, and I'm like,
oh wait, housing? Oh yeah, you're gonna get housing for yourself? Yeah, my bad. I'll try to take care of it tonight. Just follow up with me if I don't get it done by tomorrow.
All right.
Yo, BMAC is so excited.
Who am I going against again?
That guy that was interested.
Okay. I don't even know who that is, but okay.
But I sort of am more interested now seeing a Lux for L versus BMAC. So I sort of am like tempted to like put you guys against each other, honestly.
Bro, that would be a beatdown. Like an actual
not
beatdown.
even Alex. He's not even worth me going to Florida.
This guy is a little kid. He's a toddler.
This guy is.
Don't put him next to me.
Oh my God.
Is so lame,
this
bro.
is like a McGregor fight. Like, look at all
What grown man hides himself?
Look at this.
Bro, I'm showing my
he's-
face.
he's
What are
shown
you
his-
scared?
he's shown himself.
What are you
He's shown
scared
himself
that
a couple of
your
times.
hair is
Yeah,
not
bro.
done?
I didn't want to do it.
Miami's a hot city,
ego was
too.
too strong. I had to
Looks
show it.
for L. Oh, I get all types of girls. I just can't talk to him though.
My name is
'cause-
BMAC.
Oh, Chad, do you want to see
I got to make sure that her nose is sparkly, and I got to make sure my nose is sparkly. Get out of here, bro.
Put a one in the chat if you want to see this competition be between
Please.
BMAC and Pearl.
I want a worthy opponent.
Alex, this guy is in a fucking wheelchair and he's 5'8".
And I
how
would
many
do
more
as again.
handicaps do you need to give him?
I'm in a scooter, and it would be so embarrassing
Alright,
how I
let's
would destroy you, bro.
Maybe
for
you
Al.
make
Looks
me
for Al.
autistic and it might be
you can say all of that, but like if he is brave enough to actually challenge you, you should accept it. Because
Well,
I'm ready
doing
to.
one with Jake. That's the thing. Like I already.
I mean, like it's not like you're the president of USA.
He
that
don't
you
want
can only
he
do
don't
one
want to
challenge
see
1
me,
year,
man,
you know?
because he knows.
You can do 2 challenges
Bro,
when
everyone
you're
loves
in
to talk.
Miami.
They love to talk, bro. I've made my decision on who I'm gonna destroy. We'll do that, and we'll go from there.
Sounds
I've literally
like,
only taken
sounds like
dubs so
everyone
far.
just talks.
Yeah, but
Sounds
I'm the
like
one with the
everyone
belt.
else is talking, not you. Right?
I'm
Yeah,
the
I'm
one
doing
with the
it.
gold.
Yeah. See, look, BMAC is ready. He's showing his face. He's showing his black belt or golden belt, and he's ready to do it. Like oh, so I've made my
He's
decision.
showing the belt that he ordered on Amazon.
Exactly.
Oh, this is
$20
a
was all
real
it takes.
legitimate belt right here.
He reached the belt threshold. So
I earned this belt.
exactly, there you go. $20, he's earned it.
Now look for L. I can give you a training course if you want. Make sure
Nah,
everything is good for
you're
you.
just gonna let him shit
Bro,
talk
you
you,
You will
bro.
never get on a
Look for
computer
Al, come on.
again and hide behind these fake pictures that you have. You are and that's how you know you ugly when you hide your face. That's how you know you ugly.
No, I think Lux for L is attractive. BMAC never saw you, so it's totally understandable.
People make assumptions. It's
Well,
so
is he
funny.
insecure with it himself? Does he have like?
I mean, they make assumptions
he's
based
got to
on
get
the
a
evidence
right
they're
nostril
presented, right?
surgery before he can show himself.
Yeah, I mean, like they make assumptions based on the evidence they're put forward, right? Like he never saw you with the camera on, so obviously it's going to be like.
But he hasn't seen me that I have had it on.
Yeah, but like you're hiding it. So what's the assumption? The assumption is going to be like, okay, he's hiding his camera because he's insecure about what he looks like.
No,
that's the obvious assumption anyone is going to make. Jenny, do you think looks for L is like average looking or very hot?
I do actually. I think he probably is good looking because he doesn't want to show his face and make people just look at his face. He wants people to hear what he has to say.
But he's really not.
Alex,
he's not trying to woo.
Are you the type of guy who values your intelligence over your looks?
I mean, both are important, but only one will attract the woman right away. So that's what matters more to me.
How many girls?
But in this panel, you value what you want people to value you based on what you're saying, not how you're looking.
Yeah, my Chad-like appearance will distract
face.
them. It'll distract them from what I'm saying, so we can't have that.
Yes, we will start touching ourselves on this train.
We're gonna be engulfed in you.
That is very considerate of you, Lux.
Yeah.
We'll be hypnotized, we'll be mesmerized by that look. Yeah. We will turn gay after being straight for 32 years. Yeah.
I got 10 girls over here now. I'm gonna go with looks for L.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Anyway, I think this has been a fun debate. We've gone on 4 hours, so I do want to wrap up. Any closing thoughts, anyone, before we close this out?
Basically, I'll reach out to you tomorrow, and I'm ready for this competition. I'm just a little update. I'm soon to be off this boot, so y'all don't want me to start walking. I'm scooting, and I'm doing good. So if I start walking, it's even more with my 5'8" height.
I know it's brutal, dude. I'm so sorry for you.
And how tall are you? Look, how tall are
you? I don't want to make you seem silly by saying it. I'm just gonna spare you.
Okay.
Are you like 6'3"?
Yeah, I'm 6'3". Actually, that's a good guess. See, she knows how to chat, how to spot a chat.
So
Alex.
because you're 6'3", that means the competition is just straight over.
It's complete
it's over. I'm done.
You're done.
I'm done.
That's why I can't even take a word out of your mouth seriously.
I love the fact that you're taller because I just know what I can do, and I'm gonna embarrass your 6'3".
Homie, your genes are weak. They're not desirable to the opposite sex. I'm sorry.
I love it.
Come on, why don't you come on in February? Come on.
I mean, BMAC seems very confident about.
Bro, he's a
being
little
able to beat you.
child. That's actually like sad. I couldn't do that. I'm sorry, but I'll do it against Jake because like it's a little more reasonable, you know. Still a beatdown, but it's more reasonable.
You mean like picking on your own size? Is that what you're saying?
Not my own size, but at least it's like the beatdown will be like 80-20, not 99.9 to 1. You know.
I mean, wouldn't you gain more credibility if you
those are fighting words
because you're already because you are actually saying that it's going to be so embarrassing for BMAC. Wouldn't you gain more credibility?
Like when you see an autistic kid on the street, right? You're not gonna call him autistic, right?
I definitely don't think he's autistic at all. Like
you keep walking, bro.
He's like a normal dude. If anything,
blah 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 blah. It doesn't matter what's good, what time. I'm down for whatever, bro. Just come over. He's doing all the talking and ducking and dodging. That's what people that aren't good at what they do. Anyone talk smack to Michael Jordan? It's over.
Michael Jordan, Alex.
Everybody knows.
To be honest, you're the one who's still talking here.
Right now, you're doing a lot of talking.
He's ready to do the challenge. You're the one who's like, he's a little kid. He's autistic and shit like that. Like, so you should be more willing to take up BMAC, especially when
Alex,
you're
I hope you
at
can
an
be
advantage,
the one
right?
voice of reason here and understand how like actually deluded this
Everybody, he's scared. That's why he's ducking and dodging me. He's doing the talking, but he's not doing the walking, and that's what really matters is the walking.
You're a toddler. I'm sorry.
I could be a toddler all day long.
I feel like
but
I'm watching like the beginning of an MMA matchup because you're just talking shit.
No, I'm ready to do it.
I'm gonna get more girls than you. No, I'm gonna get more girls. No, I can get more girls. My dad can beat up your dad. No, your dad can beat up my dad.
No, he's saying my dad would beat your dad, but I'm not gonna do anything about it.
No.
No, I think it would be really funny to see BMAC versus Looks for Earl. That would be like the ultimate.
It'd be a lot of fun. Could be good content.
Yeah, you guys want it for the content.
Hey,
I'm trying to spare him.
Oh my god. Okay, fine.
When
no
the competition,
content,
when the competition's over, you guys should have like a post-competition press conference, like the UFC.
All right, whoever wins, I'm gonna buy them dinner and drinks. Yeah, whoever wins between BMAC and Look for Earl.
I do like salmon. Food. I like salmon with asparagus and mashed potatoes. Sauvignon Blanc. Have that already prepared, ready, because I already know that I would destroy this dude. I already know that I would.
Got a backup plan right there.
Jesus Christ, the jokes are different.
I think, and Looks real. You know I would destroy you. You know I would.
Man, it's so hard.
You know you're not. You know you have no game, and you hope and rely girls would think you look good, so then they'll just come to you and the corny stuff you say you think that's gonna work, but that doesn't work most of the time. For the most part, guys go to girls. Nowadays girls sometimes would come to guys, but for the most part, they're not gonna actually come to you. They're gonna wait for you to come to them, and if you don't, then you're not gonna get it.
Wow, thank you for that realization. I didn't actually know that.
Of course.
But here's the other thing.
You're welcome. That was a point that you can use against me now if we're having this competition.
Yo, can I also use your 4 looks system? Because it's very similar to my name, you know? That'd be really cool if I could use that. You know the 4 looks thing that you didn't want to give away?
Yeah. No, I already gave that away. I said that day. You heard it. And you remember.
That is some top tier advice. Thank you so much. I really don't know what I'd do without you. But here's the other thing I find strange. They assume like a good looking guy doesn't have game as well. Like you assume, like I've been with a lot of women, like you would think that I would have social skills like getting them. They don't just hop on your dick. Like you still have to seduce them, talk to them, flirt, banter. Like that's kind of like another weird thing. I never understood why people think that someone who's good looking won't have game either.
No,
but I guess the time will tell.
I think BMAC has the impression that you actually don't do well with women, but I mean I can tell you actually probably do decent. I don't think you're like really good at it, but like I think you're decent.
It's not all good looking people can know how to talk to people. So like I got homies. Like some of my homies are like 6'3", 6'4". I'm like the shortest dude out of all of us.
Brutal.
And
brutal.
They don't know what to say, and that is a problem. Like
they're taller than me too. Yeah.
I'm
do it. I'm gonna kill myself.
It's hard to just say it. I can just do it, and I can adapt to the environment. While this is how you know, Look for L can't really get girls.
Yeah, when
you say, Alex, if you were to say, hey, this is what we're gonna do, and I overheard him talking to Jake, I think his name is, where they're talking about how they're gonna do this competition. He was saying so many things. Oh, we can't do this, and we can't do all that stuff. That shows that he's insecure within his game. He has no game.
Yes.
I'm the type of guy.
We were going over logistics to ensure fairness.
Is who the girl is, where we're going. I don't care what we're doing. Let's just go and do it. There's no rules for me. Let's just do it.
It's really
like,
it's really easy to rope looks back in. I always just say, but bro, you're a Chad. Shouldn't you win?
Well,
that takes care of every single objection.
Hold on.
No, bro, aren't you a Chad?
Right.
And he'll be like,
it's important to make sure it's the same girl. Because originally they were thinking of doing different girls, but it has to be the same girl to ensure like 100% like isolating for factors. That's all.
That sounds
aren't you
good,
a Chad, bro?
I am. I'm trying.
It works every time. Every time.
I've already decided. You don't need to win me over anywhere.
You're coming to Miami at the end of March, yeah?
Yeah, like March 17th, I believe, something like that.
Yeah, cool.
I better see you there because I want to tower.
I'll be there. Let's definitely.
It's gonna be a brutal hype mog. We have to take a photo so I can hype mog.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
I'm totally okay with that.
Yeah,
if
you guys
don't
want to
see
like
content, that's fine too.
after March, like he just disappears. Know that I'm actually keeping him in my basement.
Right. So we have to talk to the same girl, right?
Weird chat experiments.
Oh no.
Try to take his Chad essence. And put
No. I'm having second thoughts now. Thoughts.
It's too late. We had a verbal agreement. Can't go back on that.
Handshake.
You heard it. I heard it. The 128 viewers heard it. So.
Yeah.
I'm more than down. Like we'll actually go to the best spots too. I have inns everywhere, so yeah, we'll do it.
I'll have some drinks for some liquid courage since cold approach is not my norm, but it should be a piece of cake.
Okay. Sounds good.
Wait, but why do you need drinks if you're a Chad?
Have some drinks, yeah.
No, just because I want to have some fun, bro.
No, but like if you're a Chad, you don't have to have.
I don't have to.
Etc.
Let's make it.
Yeah, but like fun. No, I mean like, come on, let's make it fair. You're a Chad. I'm not a Chad.
Are you guys just doing bars, or are you gonna try like the beach or something like that?
Probably just like
anywhere.
I think we should try just the one girl thing. By the way, like in the lounge.
Yeah, I mean,
that's what we agreed on.
Yeah. Okay.
Hold on. So what are y'all doing? Like one girl? What do you mean one girl?
It's just the rules of
talking to the same girl, maybe together. That's fine too.
I do want to wrap up because we're like 4 hours in, and I get videos and shit.
Yeah,
but
it is 4 hours.
Mad props to Jenny for being the only one besides me to stay on through the whole thing. Appreciate you. Thanks for everyone for coming on. It was a good discussion. Hope you guys enjoyed that. And we'll be back tomorrow night with another round of speed dating. I appreciate y'all. Have a good night, guys. Peace.
Bro, let's just